Hiya Benchmates. Warning, listening to this podcast may cause uncontrollable urges to buy obscure resin parts at 2 a.m. Hiya Benchmates, this is Beyond the Box Art, the official podcast of the International Plastic Modelers Society UK. Please welcome your host, Paul Pendleton-Brown, and joining him this episode are Mike Baldwin, Dan Brazil, Mark Housley, James Nevitt, and Paul Wong. And we are joined this episode by Chris Meddings from Inside the Armour 3.
Welcome back, Benchmates, to Beyond the Box Art. And would you look at that? We've made it to episode 10. Double digits, which is frankly more than most of our kits ever managed before being shoved back in the stash. This episode, I'm joined for the normal chit-chat by Nevs.
Hello.
Mark.
Hiya.
Dan.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, all. And Wongy.
Hello.
With a workbench full of plastic, paint and questionable life choices, plus our usual crew of Benchmates. The voices you know, the banter you can't unhear, and the only modelling podcast that makes your stash grow faster than your skills. So buckle up, break out the sprue cutters, where the glue fumes are strong, but the friendships are stronger. Episode 10 starts now. Starting with Nevs, what have you got on the bench?
Well, as you have all seen, if you've tuned in on our Facebook, I finally actually finished something for once.
Woo!
I have finished the Kinugasa, so those of us that are in the Bolton team will be able to see it tomorrow night. So I still need to find the mojo to finish the Spitfire. That's just standing off to one side. For the cup build for our Telford show, I need to crack on with building that. So I'm going to be building the Shinano, which is my favourite ship. Need to start that. I've got the box out today. Need to get a start on that.
What scale is that?
700 scale.
Still pretty sizable, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you think, obviously I brought the Musashi down a few months ago. It's basically the exact same size. If anything, it's slightly larger because you've got the flight deck, which extends at least aft, if not forward. Plus you've got your quite a large bridge on the Shinano as well. So I'm going to do it with a full interior. The Fujimi kit, the whole hangar deck is one piece, essentially like a big tub, which I suppose is like the real life ship. So I'm going to magnetize it, hopefully, so that the flight deck is removable.
That's a very small aircraft, though, isn't it, Nevs?
Yeah, I've done them before. They're about 50.
It's about tiny big.
15, yeah, about 15 mil by 15 mil, so about that size they'd be.
Half an inch by half an inch.
Shinano, it would have had an air group of 47, so I could do those. But depending on who you ask, it could have fit 140 in the hangar.
Blimey. Really?
I'll keep you busy.
Whether I decide I think that's why I want to have the open hangar, because if I remove the flight deck so you can see the hangar, for Telford, I might even be able to present it where the flight deck's like on stilts, just like a level above, as if you were deconstructing the ship.
Wow.
So then I can experiment with different air wings inside.
Is it going to be a water scale, or are you going to make a full hull version?
Obviously, I'll do it the only way that a ship of that size should be done, which is full hull.
I'm saying nothing.
What happened to that one? Was that one of the midway casualties, or I'm not well up on the Japanese stuff?
Oh, no. So Shinano, it was the Yamato class hull, the third in the series. It was only commissioned around November of 1944, and it was a bit like Titanic in that it set sail and sank within 3 days.
Oh, God, right.
It was on its way to Kure to have its full fittings done.
Also, it was still being built.
Yeah, that's why it sank. It had loads of the construction crews still on board, and most of its watertight doors were open. One of the USS Archerfish managed to sink it on its way to Kure during the night. It was escorted by about 5 destroyers, but this submarine managed to trick them into pulling away from Shinano with enough time to land a couple of torpedo hits.
Wow. I can imagine there'd be a few rum comments that night. Like, told you to shut them bleeding doors.
Do you live in a barn?
There's a lot of comments on the American side because he radios it in and he says, I've sunk possibly the biggest carrier any of you have ever seen. And he'd already had a near miss where he'd been relieved of command. And the Navy board turned around and said, yeah, you've not sunk anything. You're completely making this up.
Yeah.
Credited him with sinking a cruiser. And then later on credited him with sinking maybe a light carrier. And it was only later after the war when they realised, oh dear, this was the biggest. It's on a Nimitz level of size.
Wow, that is really big.
70, more than 70,000 tons, this thing.
Wow.
Held the record, didn't they, for the largest single gross tonnage sinking, the Archerfish.
It is.
Do you know, at weekend I went over to my favourite model emporium, and in there you had a model of the turrets of the Yamato, the Takum thing, in 72nd scale, and I thought, I'm going to have a quick look at that. I lifted the lid off it. I could not believe the size of these things in 72nd. They were immense. And it even comes with a base as well. You can set this thing up on it, and it was massive. Absolutely massive. It's like a 35th scale tank. In kind of size, this thing, and it's 72nd scale. God almighty.
Well, the shells would match up against a small car in size.
Yeah, wow.
And in weight. Each shell was 1 to 2 tons.
Blimey.
And you're firing, probably 9 in one go on a battleship?
Yeah. Full broadside is 9. Reload within a minute.
They were that quick reloading?
Yeah, they can be.
It's just a shell and then bags and bags of cordite shoved in behind it, isn't it?
Yeah, and quite advanced. I don't know if the elevators on the Yamatos were as advanced as like on the Iowa class in the US, but they did have a pretty advanced fire control system for them as well. So this is what they did. That was their expertise. So it makes sense that they do it well.
It's amazing.
But yeah, Shinano, it's one of my favourites.
Just look where we've come to today, eh? Some £3,000 or £4,000 drone can destroy all kinds of stuff now. Probably make a mess of one of them boats, or give it a good pasting. Anyway, plenty of them sent out there.
Yeah.
Different times, isn't it?
Indeed. So what have you been spending your money on then, Nevs?
I've been buying some paints. So I've got the MiG set for Japanese naval aircraft. So I'm going to see how that works for painting up all these torpedo bombers and Zeros, whether it's in 72nd scale or 700th as it will be for these. Bought a few paints.
Is that the normal acrylic set or is that the Atom?
It's the Atom range. So I've never used any of their Atom range. It'll be interesting to see what they're like.
Ooh.
Interested to hear what you think of it.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm impressed.
Are they that good?
Yes, they are. If you're hand painting, absolutely brilliant.
Are they? Oh, brilliant.
Yes.
Okay.
I think they're like any kind of acrylic. If you're putting it through an airbrush, it just takes a bit of practice, and once you've got your mixes right and your air pressure right, you're away.
Okay, so moving on then. Mark, what have you got on your bench?
As soon as I've had a nice break away on holiday, I've not really done anything, to be honest with you. I was doing pretty little before I went, and I've done pretty little after I've got back. This is pretty much the same as it was before. In fact, I've given up on it. I was doing that little tankette thing from Dunkirk, but I've kind of stopped. So nothing is a quick answer.
Fair enough. And what have you been spending your money on? I'm sure you've found a model shop or two on holiday. Oh, here we go.
Oh, yes. And so the Edward P40N, which is lovely, by the way. But the surprise of the week for me was the IBG 172nd scale Spitfire. So I bought well, I didn't know they was going to do this. I thought they were all coming out as individual kits, but they've done like a dual combo. So they've got a Mark 1 and a Mark 2. But irrespective, it is an absolute box full.
Wow.
Of plastic. But the thing is, a video, but as you can see, there's nearly every prop that ever went on a Spitfire there.
So you've got about 5 different propellers there.
There's loads of stuff. There's loads of interiors. And the surface detail Now, there was a little bit of comment on socials regarding the...
Riveting on the wings.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, to me, this is really nice. It's very Edward-esque in the surface detail. It's really, really nice. Oh, it look lovely with a wash on. It all depends on... I mean, it's a weatherer's dream, basically.
But you got to build it first.
You know what? No.
Don't depress him.
I can see Nevs is actually drooling at the screen looking at all those spit parts.
Yes.
I was going to say, what are the panel lines like?
Beautiful. And the other thing that is really impressive is oh my God, and the decals. I think these are done by TechMod.
Yeah.
There's absolutely piles of them. There's there's 4 different sets of, and they're all different. Each one, all the little stencils, instrument panels, they're all different. And there's etch, as you can see there. Your favourite, Wongy.
Hey, my new favourite.
A little bit of etch, but the other thing that was absolutely amazing, again, I think everybody's pinching off the likes of Wingnut Wings now, aren't they? These fuller.
Oh, full colour instructions.
And then you've goes through all the individual different seats, different versions of seats.
Colours.
Absolutely brilliant. Full of information.
That is really good, yeah.
Like when you get an instruction set and you start looking at something, you think, what does that mean? Why is that? Why have I got 2 of them? And it doesn't really tell you. This is brilliant. It weren't cheap.
I was about to say, how much did you pay for it?
I paid.
Go on.
The RRP on this is $54.99.
L.
But there's two of them in there.
For a 72nd scale Spitfire.
As soon as I opened it,
That's still 25 quid each, isn't it?
you know what it's like, Wongy, when you've just got to have something.
Yeah, but the problem with you, Mark, is you've got to have it all the time.
You go into that must have.
Yeah.
Got to have it, yeah. Sod the consequences. And I actually managed, I thought I'd got away with sneaking it in, and she was, just as I opened the door, I thought, oh, she's gone out. Definitely gone out. Nope, there she was, stood in the kitchen. Oh, yeah, what you doing with it? Try to hide it, aren't you? Oh, no, just give up. I give up.
Standard.
Gone out. Just own up. Take the punishment.
But yeah, the problem is, you've got to remember, you've seen the stash. It is a little bit frightening. And I did promise her that I wouldn't buy any more, but these new kits keep coming out, and the P40N, it's the N version. I really did want the N.
Is that limited edition boxing?
It is a limited edition, yeah.
Oh, 15,000th.
The 15,000th built P40, but you only get 2 decal sets. Yeah, you get the one with all the lots of little round and other countries insignia, and then obviously there's a Chinese one there.
Oh, it's the Flying Tigers.
Flying Tiger one, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, Riley's daughter, whoever that is. So obviously it's Captain Philip E. Coleman, based in Ankang, China.
I thought the boxing was actually celebrating the number of kits you've actually got in the stash so far.
I've got a few, but I'm not quite got that many.
Moving on swiftly. Dan, what have you got on your bench?
Busy, very busy bench at the moment. The first thing I did a little while ago was had a good tidy up of the bench because I've got so many different things on the go. I needed to have a good organise, which is always good to do. And I bought a tiny little bench vacuum because sanding and scraping and all the rest of it, it's all very well sweeping it off. But yes, I bought a little bench vac, which is great. But yeah, actual model wise, the Camel Trophy Land Rover is now painted. And for the first time I've ever used the Tamiya TS rattle cans. And I was about to prime, because it's yellow, I was about to prime it in grey. And then I thought, that's not going to work.
Oh, no.
So thankfully, in my cupboard of plenty, I found a can of
Red.
The white.
Oh, white.
The white Tamiya fine primer. And that primed lovely, really, really nice. And the gloss finish on it out of the can. I think those Tamiya cans are pressurized a bit lower and deliver a bit less paint than you would if you bought something from an auto store or something like that. You don't tend to hose it on. They've got a feel to them where It's all a bit gentler. They really are. That's what they're made for. Yeah, so that is on. Obviously, I thought I would leave it a few days to cure fully before I do anything on that. So that's obviously, once I painted it, I put a plastic tub over the top of it because I didn't want any
Dust, yeah.
dust and stuff settling on it. So that's waiting the next stage. The 148 Tamiya Stewart tank is now in primer. Yeah, it's really nice.
That's a nice kit.
It's lovely. I know Mark asked me on one of the previous episodes, are you going to do it out of the box? And the only thing is the light guards on it are a bit chunky, but I looked at I think it's Hauler do a photo etch set for it, and it would have worked out about 26 quid. Yeah, I know. And I thought, no, sorry, I'd rather have another kit for the moment. So anyway, that's in primer, and I went with Mr. Surfacer Mahogany this time rather than black, because obviously it's going to be olive drab over the top. So that might help in pre-shading and whatnot.
Do you ever do that where they do different light shades? You know, what's it called? Where they do
Modulation.
Yeah. Have you ever tried that?
It depends. It works better on bigger scales, or I don't know. It's not really. I'll tend to base coat first and then put some white in my base olive drab or some yellow to sort of desaturate it a little bit, and then in all of the panels I will do that. But you have to be careful doing that because sometimes it cannot look good. That's the Stewart.
So can I just ask you another question? So using the mahogany colour, what does that bring to the finish? In what way will that?
I think it complements the olive drab better than black, because black will desaturate anything, and at that scale you don't want to be making your olive drab too dark. And I just think, and because I use lacquers that are very, very thin, you can build up gently over the top until you're happy with it once they're dry. So yeah, I just thought I'd give it a go and see if there is any major difference. Yeah, we'll give that one a go. Minor setback on the B17. As I said before, I masked off. I hate masking. It's the one thing. I know people don't like etch, or everybody has that thing, and masking is it for me. It's so tedious. So I masked off all of the anti-glare panels that are in olive drab on that B17, and I don't know if I had the pressure too high on the airbrush. When I took all the masking tape off, there was overspray.
Well, you'd gone under.
There was overspray on the metallic parts. I was like, for goodness sake. So I did get the ump with that one. I didn't throw it at the wall, but it did get put out of the way for a bit until I'm ready to get back out with the airbrush. And because obviously I have a separate airbrush for my metallics, because I always worry about them not being clean 100%.
That's the painter in you coming out there, isn't it, really?
I know, mate. I know. Yeah. So that's that. And I started a figure because we've got a club theme night coming up with my West Norfolk branch, and it's made in Britain. And I'm going to take I've already built it a couple of years ago, which is the Airfix Daimler Ferret Scout Car, which is lovely, really nice little kit. And I thought it needs a figure. And somehow I bought them ages ago. It's from DJ Parkins, who sadly passed away, and he sold he was one of the very rare few that actually sold 135th 1970s Northern Ireland get up British soldiers.
Oh, right.
So I thought I'd have a go at him, and he's a 135th British Fusilier figure.
I bet that was hard to get hold of, wasn't it?
And it's white metal as well.
Oh,
yeah, which I've never put together and painted a white metal figure. Do you know what? To clean up the seams, because the white metal is so soft, you just run the scalpel blade over the seams. It's not like doing plastic. It's fantastic. It's probably easier to clean up. I was a bit dubious of what the detail was going to be like with it being metal. And once I primed it, obviously all the detail then pops. And
I was going to say, usually when you prime that white metal, it makes what a difference.
Yeah. So it was lovely, yeah. So I primed it in Mr. Surface. I gave it a wash first. I primed it in Mr. Surfacer black, and then I dry brushed it in white, rather than setting the airbrush up just to dust some white on the top for the zenithal light. I tried dry brushing just some Vallejo white thinned down, and that left all of the shadows. And my painting technique now for figures is the glazing technique, which I think is fantastic.
Oh,
I haven't got any glaze specific paints. I tend to make my own with a bit of glaze medium, drop of water, and then it's about the same ratio for all three. I tend to mix up way more than I actually need, but the glaze medium, it stops it from drying out quick as well in your little mixing palette, and it allows you to just put a glaze on. You can work it, because what you don't want to do with glazing technique, you don't want it to pool in the shadow areas. So you have to just dab the brush on some paper and then touch it on the little pools of paint. You almost have to soak it back into the brush. Yeah. And the other night, the hardest thing I did on it was the 68 pattern smock that he's wearing under his flak jacket.
Is that the black and white one? But the black and green one?
Yeah, the DPM smock.
DPMs.
That was fun to do. I've got an old DPM smock that I chuck in the back of the Land Rover. So I grabbed that, and it's only when you look at it and think, right, so the base layer is green, then it's got light brown splodges on it, then it's got darker brown splodges on it, and then it's got like black slashes within that. And to replicate that at 1/35 was fun, but I'm really happy with it. It came out really well. So yeah, that's what's been on the bench.
Well done.
And purchase wise, although I said I wasn't going to buy anything now until Telford, because I do need to save some money.
Here it comes.
A friend of mine from the club said, "Are you still interested in a Bambi BB8 compressor?" And I said, yes. He's downsizing, and he said, "Well, mine is for sale if you're interested." And it was an opportunity too good to miss.
Great bit of kit.
I obviously pinged you a quick message, Mark, when you were on holiday, and said,
Great bit of kit.
yeah, shall I pull the trigger on this? And do you know what? I plugged it in, and I don't even think it's as loud as a fridge running. It is so quiet. And I fully filled the tank. I had a little play with it. I filled the tank, and then I just held the airbrush to see how much air I would get out of it until it kicked in. And it just went and went and went. It holds. It's only got a 8-litre tank on it, but it holds so much air. I reckon I could charge it once, turn it off, do my airbrushing, and clean out the airbrush. And then
For one night, the whole airbrushing session for one night is easily. Yeah, they are good.
So that's it. But yeah, no more purchases now till Telford.
That was a steal. What you told me, you paid for that. I mean, considering what them things, he's still available. They're a few quid.
Yeah, they are expensive, but they do come obviously with your warranty and all the rest of it. But I think they started out for dental equipment, didn't they? That's what they're aimed at.
Well, yeah, it's any kind of medical that uses driven tools and burrs and all that kind of stuff.
No, I'm really, really happy with it.
And if anyone would like to donate a Numby compressor to a hard-up host of a podcast, open to offers. Oh dear. Okay, moving on then. Wongy, what's on your bench?
So at the minute, obviously the Catamaran, the PlayStation Catamaran, is still there in the background, and I've looked at it again and I thought, no, I'll move on. I'm leaving that one for a little while longer.
And the Harrier?
The Harrier is painted, but I'm not touching it anymore because I've lost interest now.
You're worse than Boulders.
How dare they?
He resembles that remark.
I'm so flirty with my models. I know. I've moved on to HMS Sheffield, which I mentioned last programme, and I've actually cracked on with this with absolute enthusiasm because it just suited. The plastics are fantastic. The only criticism I'd say is because it's a 1/350 scale kit. When you cut the parts off and you trim them, you don't know if the part you've trimmed is the part or is it the trim bit which is the part, because they do look very similar on some of them because the parts are so small. And I know.
Can I just say, stop now? Don't build any more boats.
No, I get it with it's the 4-arch HMS Sheffield, and I noticed that on the kit that the sprue gate runs into the plastic, and you don't know if it's meant to be on there or not because there's no definition line on it. Like with an Airfix kit or a Revell, they taper it down to a thin point so that you can cut it easier. On these, they're not. The sprue gate's quite wide.
They flow in, and if it wasn't for my God Hands, which is a brand of snippers,
Other makes available.
but I did try my Tamiya ones, but I went back to the God Hands. They trimmed the plastic on these tiny, tiny little bits really well, to the point where the next test of endurance was actually trying to hold it with a pair of tweezers before it pings. Now that you guys have told me don't use tweezers, use those sticky blob pens.
Oh, it's a combination of both, to be honest with you.
So I'm doing that. And then obviously as part and parcel of the enjoyment, not of building this ship, is photo etch parts. And it's my first time, my virginal time with photo etch. And it's not been great at the start because I've been using the wrong glue. I just use normal super glue.
So what glue are you using now then?
So I've bought Mr. Mig Ammo's Ultra Glue, which you recommended to me, Brownie, which basically is like PVA.
Like Gorilla Glue for models.
Yeah, it's good for canopies and photo etch, it says. Or words to that effect. I've been trialing that, which is okay. But it's one of those things with photo etch, I don't know, it's bending the little steps on a ladder and things like, it just drives me to distraction. I suppose the more you do it, better you get. But unfortunately, I don't think I'll do another one after this.
Don't tell me you wrung out on the ladders already.
Oh, painful.
And the dad joke of the year goes to...
Yes.
The problem with photo etch, Wongy, as well, is sometimes they give you bits that you think, actually, the kit part is more three-dimensional than some of the tanks and stuff that I do. They give you that, and you think, why have you done that? That's not even worth using. I'd rather use the 3D, the more three-dimensional kit part for it.
It's funny you should mention that, but in this particular kit, Mike will back me up on this. They give you a cannon barrel, don't they, in brass, and it's absolutely superb. But when you look at the plastic one's not bad as well. The only thing you need to do is just run your scalpel to take the molding line out, and it's fantastic. Funny enough, I cut the end off and used the brass one. It was quicker. Okay, so I'll tell a lie. I did try and run the scalpel over it, and I bent it.
At least you're honest.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Oh my God, it's like confessional here, isn't it? So that one's all gone. But in terms of building this ship, the instructions are more of a suggestion, because when you look at building it, I mean, don't get me wrong, the instructions are brilliant. If you want to build a ship and you don't want to paint it, it's fine. But when you've got a ship, and Nevs will know where I'm coming from, if you're going to spray a ship, you have to make sure that you paint certain parts in a certain order, and then all the superstructure stuff is built offline, so that when you do the final assembly, just like Babcock's do in Fife or wherever they build it, you assemble those main assemblies together right at the end. So it's a ship of many little parts. And then you've got to look at the hand railing. And you guys know more than I do about how you actually get the photo etch to stick with paint, etc. What was that product you mentioned before?
Mr. Metal Primer.
Mr. Metal Primer, right. So I've got to get that as well. So if you don't use it...
Did you have a look on YouTube for build videos of this ship to see if anybody else has had the same problems, or...?
No one's built it yet.
Right.
Oh, I should be doing a video myself.
One was given to a magazine review for April. I think that was Airfix Model World, but it hasn't appeared in the magazine yet, so I don't know who's got that one. But that kit that Wongy's building actually has a 1 to 350th bridge, and the actual bridge deck has got a clear sprue on it, and it's got windows, so you can mask the windows off spray it all one colour, and then you can see the bridge.
Oh, fantastic.
Which I have done.
Another bonus for you as well, Wongy, is at least it's not a camouflage thing like what Mike's do. You know, don't envy him doing that one at all. I remember trying to do the Turpits once, and that was enough. I don't think I ever finished it.
Story of his life.
That's the pot calling the kettle black, isn't it?
It's not the first ship I've built, but it's the first time I've used photo etch. The previous one I built was one of those old Hella kits, and I think it was the Narvik Z33 or something like that, which I built. And because I didn't know much at the time about these ships, I think it was a weirdo scale of 1/400 or something like that.
Hellos were 1/400.
That came with plastic railings as well, I seem to remember.
It did. They were basically, it was like having a timber fence as opposed to, and they were that thick. So in the end, what I ended up doing was this mad thing of stretching sprue.
Yeah, been there, done that.
And I basically redid all the railings in stretched sprue to the point where, again, that just drove me mad. And what was the other?
Did you pull all your hair out by any chance?
Yeah, funny enough, yeah. And that's why it's dead shiny. Hey, massive saving in Head and Shoulders.
I've not got dandruff anyway.
Yeah, there's no dandruff anymore.
The problem is you use wash and go, and it did.
If you're not enjoying the build.
Am I enjoying this kit? I think I am.
Would you like to tell your face that you're actually enjoying it?
Yeah, you look like you're loving it.
Was I looking to the upper left and lying then, or the upper right and lying? I can't remember.
Yes.
It looks like there's a squirrel. There's a squirrel up on the shelf.
Have you got a tell?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm hooked up to the lie detector.
Well, stay keen, keep at it. You started off and you've got to just persevere and get through these little challenges.
I think I will.
You're learning something new by using the photo etch. You're probably learning to never want to use it again, or you might learn what bits to use and what not to use. But it's the same with anything, isn't it? We all,
It is.
saying that I've never built a ship before, and I might start off with something quite easy and do a 350th scale Yamato. I really fancy doing.
Oh, do that.
Just sort of dip my toe in the Japanese water and just go with a 350th Yamato. Why not?
To be honest, it'll be easier than a lot of the smaller ones.
700 scale is too small.
Do you reckon?
So my Musashi, I finished that in 2 months flat, whereas that little Kinugasa there, which is a quarter of the size, take me how many months is that? Near 6 months. It's insane.
But was you doing other projects as well, Nev?
No, yes, I've done other projects because of the Kinugasa, not like in spite of it.
Right, yeah.
The thing with like Yamato Musashi, I'm not saying the boxy, but the way the superstructure is designed, it just goes together. You will get
Quite modular.
very modular, very easy to paint in separate bits. It's almost, I don't know if it's just because it's the design of the kits or what, but the Yamato class just not easy, but easier than if you took
But then
white or something.
that's a very special kit for Tamiya as a company, isn't it? So
Yeah.
they had to make sure that it was
Done right.
they did a premium version of that, didn't they? With extras in the box.
Full photo decks, barrels. It came with a lot, but that was really expensive. I think that was like...
Are you sure that was Tamiya? Are you sure that wasn't Hasegawa?
No, Tamiya did an ultimate edition of the Yamato, and it was about 300 quid about 10 years ago.
Bold, is that value for money getting that one, or are you better off buying a basic kit and just buying extras from someone else?
The extras could cost you. So if you wanted a Pontus set for it, you could be looking at, that's the ultimate stuff. So you're probably looking at about 200, 250, possibly, depending. It all depends on where you buy it from. That's for the...
Is that just for the edge?
It comes with a wooden deck, the barrels, all the railings, obviously all the anti-aircraft things, so all then will be made of photo etch, all the cranes.
The little crew figures for that as well, or not?
I think Pontus do have the figures, but again, they're in photo etch brass, so the 2-dimensional and the flat.
You can get the little 3D printed ones. They're a lot of money. They're not cheap.
I'm going to have a look at some. We've got, obviously, show seasons starting to kick off now, so I'm going to start having a proper look at the ships and have a look at the so-called figures that are on them and make a decision, or just decide to just go with a simple boxing one and build it out of the box and enjoy it.
Whatever you both do not do PE for for anti-aircraft guns, because I've seen the YouTubers that do them, and the PE is that tiny that it's automatically going to be skewed in the wrong angle. You think, oh, bloody hell, that AA gun's pointing that way, and that one's pointing 89 degrees that way. It's wrong. If you can get the 3D or resin free for your anti-aircraft, if not, use the plastic, because yes, the plastic's overscale, but the PE it looks ridiculous. I've seen some of these YouTubers, and they go all out, but they'll have like a US set of Bofors guns. There's 4 barrels in a line, and no 2 barrels are pointing the same way. And it's like these would all be trained to point the same way, and yet 2 of them are pointing backwards and 2 of them pointing forwards. So just don't do it.
For all you listeners out there in photo etch land, I admire you. I don't know where you get the patience from, but anyway. So that's my build. In terms of purchases, I've already mentioned it. It's Ultra Glue. That's the only thing I've bought. Well, I will be buying Mr. Metal Etch Primer as well next. But yeah, so hopefully I'll get this one finished off for Scale Model World in Telford.
In 2027, yay!
Be my first, I can't wait.
Right, Brownie, what have you got on your bench, mate?
I've got lots of stuff on my bench at the moment. Unfortunately, most of it I can't talk about because it's involved in competitions. So the Musaru build is underway with the Toyota. Most of the accessories that I need for it have arrived. So construction has started and working on the internals. Needs a little bit of scratch building to be employed to get what I need out of the inside of it. But the other build that's on the desk at the moment is the Tamiya Phantom for the 2026 Bolton show. I'm waiting for the intake ducts to arrive, the seamless ones, which I found out after I ordered them has got a lead time of 8 weeks. So that's a little bit annoying.
Cutting it fine there.
Yeah, quite. Just a little bit. So I'm going to be basically putting everything together, everything else, and just doing the intakes of the last section, because thankfully it's a one-piece fuselage.
You could always put like a cover on the front instead and just move on.
Yeah, with how much I've spent for those seamless intakes, no.
Oh, that's true. No, maybe not.
That's not happening. Apart from that, purchases is for Project X 2027.
Ooh.
The new Airfix Wessex. Really impressed. The quality of the mouldings, everything, absolutely crack on. And but as it's only 72nd scale, really, really impressed.
I believe you can do a folded rotors with it as well, can't you? You can fold them.
Yes.
Can I just say this kit has come too late for me by 2 years, because I took the original Matchbox version of it, yeah, and I scratch built folded blades, and it was like pain to do it. But Airfix, brilliant. You've done a fantastic job, and I look forward to building one at some time in the future.
I can see some areas that photo etch would, or more to the point, 3D printing would improve massively, especially the nose grill, which is a compound curve, but it's actually in mesh.
Yeah.
Photo etch is not going to cut it. It's going to need to be a 3D print.
So do you know my secret for that?
Oh, here we go.
Wongy's wisdom.
There we go.
This is part wisdom. So what I did was I got some from an old sieve, yeah, a really fine mesh sieve. I trimmed it off. I didn't glue it on.
Oh, it's already round, isn't it? It's already there, the shape.
No, but what I did do was use it as a template, and I sprayed black. This is after I painted it. I masked it off and sprayed black through it, so you get the effect of mesh on the kit, but you've not actually got any mesh on it. It's just a painted effect.
Why didn't you just use the mesh?
Because it's trying to glue it in. That was the problem. I couldn't get it to glue, so I used my spare and did that one. So it locked the business and nobody knew. But
well, I must admit, having steered away from 72nd since the cataract operations, looking at this, I'm thinking, perhaps I was a little premature. It actually is quite a buildable, by the looks of it, piece of kit. So I'm going to give this a crack and see how we get on.
Are you going to go out in the box with that one, Brownie? Or
Scheme-wise, yes, but decals, I need to do a little bit of tweaking. Well, in fact, no, I'm not going to do it out of the box because I'm going to do it as 22 Squadron SAR machine.
do you have decals for that?
I haven't got decals yet, but I'm pretty sure Extra Decal will be announcing something for it very shortly because,
Oh,
yeah, quite. The thing that's interesting is they've released what they're doing for the Revell Hunter T7, which isn't out yet, and it's not due to be until the end of the year, but they've not mentioned anything about the Wessex.
Will Airfix be able to maybe add or take away a few bits? Will they be able to then do another boxing of it?
You don't need to, the bits are already in the box.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
The winch is in the box. Everything's in the box to do it, with the exception, I think, I haven't fully looked through the instructions because I literally opened the box before I started recording. I just can't see the inflation bags for the wheels.
Oh,
Will that give them scope to do it as a reboxing but with new decals?
Yes,
Well, there you go then. Get on it, Airfix.
that's the only thing you'd need. The aftermarket, I'm sure Mr. Meddings, who I saw a post for inside the Armour 3 with a set of Wessex instruction manuals for the real aircraft, has got some plans to actually come out with some lovely goodies. Because it's got the rotor blade fold, etc., the RAF ones hardly ever fold it. So it's obviously designed for a Navy version. So there's definitely a Navy version coming. It won't be a Mark III because the exhaust system, the way it's actually put onto the aircraft, it's not got the dual exhaust ports. It's not a Mark I or Mark III. But any of the 2s or the 5s will most definitely come out of this boxing or these moulds. So
what are the exhausts like on it, what, Brownie?
they look reasonable. I've not fully, as I said, gone into it yet, but again, that's something I think that's going to need a little bit of a tweaking with the old aftermarket. But from what I can see so far, it's very, very presentable.
Yeah.
Straight out of the box. But it'll be another one off the list, Project X.
Project X.
And the final thing about the Wessex is the decals. Cartograph again. So Airfix have most definitely upped their game with the releases I've seen this year.
Oh, excellent stuff. Do you know what? With their latest kits, they are fast becoming my fourth favourite kit maker. That sounded horrible then, didn't it? No,
It did, yes.
Yeah, it sounded terrible.
sorry, but, because obviously to me is up there at the top. But it's one where they've come right up in leaps and bounds in terms of the business.
And their instructions are so much nicer now, aren't they?
Oh, God, yeah. Just let you in on something, right? So over the weekend, I was judging an Air Cadets competition, which was for the Airfix Jet Provost. Yeah. The one which you battle little kids in Lidl's at Christmas time to go and get. Yeah. And I was looking at all the schemes that were on this competition, just to give them a shout out. It was the Cumbria and Lancs wing. And the builds were really good from most of the squadrons. Very good. There was one which was outstanding, which made me think, hang on, this looks a bit suspect.
That's not been done by an Air Cadet.
To be honest, there were a few minor items, but that one won with a very high score. But what got me was, when you actually look at the plastic of this Jet Provost, this trainer, with it being an Airfix kit, it was absolutely superb. The panel lines were just the right crispness, all the little parts. The decals, oh my God, they had it right down to where you hook it up and all the bits. They even had a dotted line decal which went round the canopy. Yeah, the only thing with doing the red one, which I noticed on the kits which the Air Cadets did, was if you use the Airfix paint which came with it, it's the wrong red, because the decal is actually I think the Royal Air Force bit is actually printed on a red decal background, and that's the red you really want to target. So, yeah, could have been better.
Signal red.
But yeah, it's a brilliant kit, and hence my view of Airfix now as a kit maker. Brilliant. Keep up the good work.
Now they've changed the plastic. Them changing the plastics made a lot of difference.
Yeah, because they used to have issues with the really soft stuff, didn't they? From India, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, they tested the first plastic of that was done on the Victor. So when they released the Victor, it was made in the UK and it was done in the dark grey plastic. And that's when everybody went, whoa, hold on a minute, where are they going with this? And everything else has just been done. So
You sure it was the Victor, not the P40?
No, it was the Victor. The Victor was the first one. He wanted to test it in the UK.
So obviously Boulders has started about 35 different models since we started recording back in episode 1, and he's been cracking on with the Spitfire with the Mark E version wing. So how's the Spit build going, Boulders?
I haven't touched anything since, well, obviously I've been on holiday, so I only came back yesterday, and I'm waiting for some bits, so I've not continued with it because I need it to continue.
Did you find any model shops?
The nearest model shop was 4 hours away.
Was it?
In the city of Sofia.
Oh, blimey. So did you get there?
And when I looked at the prices...
I don't think that would have gone down well, to be honest.
No, I think I'd have been left in the middle of the Bulgarian countryside to fend for myself. Oh, that I should have buried me.
Yeah, in kits.
No, didn't go. A lot of aircraft over there, though. Right where we landed, there was an air museum literally straight over the road.
Oh, right.
Which had a load of Russian aircraft in. Tupolev 154. It had a Mil-8 HIP. It had an AN2. Is it Colt?
Oh, the Colt. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The biplane. Yeah, the biplane. There was quite a few others. And then as we was going to our hotel, there was a MiG-21 on a stand with loads of missiles under its wings, which was pretty cool.
All right. Brilliant stuff.
I thought for a minute when you said there were a lot of aircraft when we landed, and I thought, well, are you really surprised it's an airport?
Yeah. A320, A330, A340.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Well, I flew on a 787 Dreamliner, so that was a lovely aircraft to fly on.
I can't say anything.
Oh, with that, Boulders, did you actually buy anything?
I've not bought anything. I'm currently working on a ship as we're speaking, and I'm building the 1 to 350th scale trumpeter HMS Warspite.
Excellent.
1942 edition. She's got a unique camouflage that was done by the Americans when she was out being refitted.
Where did you get that from, Boulders? Is that from the stash, or is that one you bought recently?
This was from the kit swap at IPMS Lancs.
Oh, right.
And it was for the sum of 20 quid.
Get out.
Yeah, 20 quid.
That's pretty good, then.
All right.
So, obviously, the viewers can't, well, they're not viewers, the listeners obviously can't see it, but I have just been painting all the captions and all the boxes, all the bits and bobs.
Yeah, Navy term.
On the deck is done in dark sea grey.
So have you got a timber wafer thin timber thing on it? The deck?
No, that's actually painted.
Oh, because it looks like timber. You've done a very good job there. Yeah.
One of the things I've noticed that a YouTuber was doing when you're not using the wooden decks is to pick out individual planks and paint in a slightly different colour. Because on the real ships, the wood's aging at different times. They're not taken from the same tree. It would be impossible. Replacement decking as well when bits wear away. So some bits look newer, some bits look grimy. That's a good way if you're not using a deck mask like a wooden wave. The thing I noticed about your Warspite, Mike, is it looks the same length in 350th that the hangar deck for Shinano looks in 700th. There you go.
Mine's bigger than yours.
So I've just used a paint pen and done the version of deck tan, and it's massively out.
Is it?
Don't know if you can see it. Massively.
Lighter or darker?
Fully dry.
Lighter. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
It's like an off-white, isn't it? The AK pen.
Deck tan. I didn't want to mention the name AK, but that's why I was using a paint pen.
So it's very...
But yeah, that colour's off. And then I've got buff, which might work for a different colour. Again,
that's orange. No, that looks orange to me.
Let's see how bad this is. It's orange.
Have you got photo etch to go on that one, Boulders?
There's no... Hold on. Oh, actually, I've just opened my mouth, haven't I?
He's just found a sheet of A4 with his photo etch.
No, it's not actually. There's not that much.
Which is folded in half. Oh, look at that. Right, okay. That's not a lot.
That's it. No, it's not a lot. I'm going to have to buy railings.
You can buy generic packs of railings, though, can't you?
I think you can, yeah.
Heavy and expensive. Well, we've been very niche. We've had a lot of chat on photo etch, and we've done loads of ships. That's SHIP for those listening in medium wave.
No, I think you're right first time, actually.
They can't complain, can they? I mean, are you going to do the shipping forecast in a minute, Wongy?
Could do.
Cromarty and all that lot, please.
Cromarty blowing 6, northwest.
Yeah, that's interesting because it is something that I do want to do a Yamato. I really do.
I would say, Dan, give one of those, the Airfix lifeboats, because it's in 72 scale.
Yeah.
It's easy just to have a little play with first of all, and then go on your Yamato.
Yeah.
You could, if you could find one. Tamiya did a 72nd scale Japanese Vosper, didn't they? Their version of the Vosper.
Yeah, good luck in getting one of them. They cost an absolute. You need to sell a kidney.
Yeah, no, I don't want to go down that.
How about doing a Pibber?
Piper, that's the American one from Vietnam.
35th scale.
Oh, one of the companies has done a load of figures for one of those as well.
Yeah, it's the boat that. What was the film? Oh,
Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now.
it's from. Yeah, it's like one of them.
I love the smell of Tamiya extra thin in the morning.
And Good Morning Vietnam.
Isn't one of our benchmates, Corin from Down Under, been building one of those and putting photographs on the Facebook?
Vietnam dioramas are so cool because you can do all the vegetation and the greenery.
Oh,
Yeah, brown water, loads of brown water.
no. When I said no, it's like, oh, God.
Loads of brown water. Them long boats with vegetables and stuff for sale on them.
If Mini Art doesn't make a palm tree, I'm not interested. It will take too long.
I tell you who does some great palms is 3D Gizmo. They do some really lovely palm tree, well, date trees actually. Yeah, I bought some of their date trees. They're not palms, they're date trees for my LRDG. I've got 2 LRDG Chevy trucks that one day is probably going to go inside another ammo box with lighting. It's going to be a forced perspective box diorama, and I think I'm going to do the 2 LRDG trucks with the palms and all the rest of it.
I know Dave, and
Does he?
yeah, he does some really good stuff.
That's going to be your niche, isn't it? Really, at the end of the day.
Yeah. But the thing is, with an ammo box diorama, because it's in a metal box and it's got a lid, it's protected from, you can throw it around within reason.
Well, within reason, yeah.
It doesn't get knocked and dinked because it's in its own protective cage almost.
That's true.
And everybody loves to just look inside. It's that forced perspective thing.
When you do your ships, you're going to have to do them inside a 16-inch shell, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but stuff like that's getting expensive.
Failing that, use a piece of drain pipe.
Yeah, that'll do. Bit of plastic from Wix, yeah.
Anyway, whilst you guys have been going on, I've had a quick look onto the Beyond the Box Art Benchmates Facebook group for fans of the show, and I was correct, Corin Gray from New Zealand, been working on a PBR from the Vietnam era, and it's an absolute superb rendering of that boat. Looks absolutely exquisite. Even the effect of leather he's actually put onto the seat is absolutely nuts. Well worth looking at. And for those of you that actually enjoy the show, have a look on Facebook. There is 2 Facebook groups, the ordinary one with the show information and the Benchmates, those of you that want to follow what's going on and find out news ahead of everybody else.
Absolutely.
So with that, I think we've caught up with what we've actually got on our bench and what we've been spending our cash on, and we'll move on to the next part of the show.
Visit scalemodelpodcast.com, your hub for the best scale modelling pods, because finding great content shouldn't take longer than hunting for lost photo etch.
Welcome to another River Counters Minute, brought to you by Matters of Scale. We're excited to announce our new partnership with Inside the Armour, better known as ITA3, an established UK brand known for their high-quality scale model upgrade parts. These parts are designed in the UK and printed in the USA by Matters of Scale, saving US buyers on shipping and tariffs. We're now offering ITA3's 148 scale upgrade parts for the Airfix Jaguar, like exhausts, landing gear and seats, plus many other fantastic additions on our site. When it comes to ITA3 parts, they truly stand out for how detailed and well-researched they are. These upgrades are designed by scale modelers for scale modelers, which means every piece is carefully fitted and tested to ensure it fits perfectly in the kits they're meant for. All the fine details are beautifully sculpted in 3D and rendered to perfection. These parts are truly top-notch. Visit us at www.mattersofscale.com to explore the full lineup and let us know what else you'd love to see.
It's time for this episode, IPMS UK Dispatches. All the Society's news and modelling show details, one dodgy phonetic letter at a time, with Mark Sanderson.
So it's that time of the episode again, and we're joined by Mark from IPMS UK. Hi Mark, how you doing?
Hi Brownie, I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. What exciting news have you got for us this episode then?
Well, I've got a bumper edition today, actually. So let's kick it off because it's quite long, this list. We have starting on Saturday, the 27th of September. First of all, we have the Gravesend Scale Model Open Day, which is at 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that's being held at the Cascades Leisure Centre, Thong Lane. I don't know if that's right. Yeah, Gravesend, Delta Alpha 1 2 4 Lima.
Well done.
So I'm getting better.
Couldn't get much worse, to be fair.
So that's I hit a low point. So we've got trader stands, club stands. There's an open competition which they encourage for all ages and skill levels to join. So if you plan to get involved, it's a good opportunity. They have a raffle and a tombola, lots of on free parking and on-site refreshments, and entry is only £3 with children under 16 going in for free.
Bargain.
Absolute bargain. Move forward to Saturday, the 4th of October. We have Abingdon IPMS Model Show, which is 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's at the Larkmead School, Farringdon Road, Abingdon. Postcode for that is Oscar X-Ray 141 Bravo Bravo. Trader and club displays, competition. There's a burger van providing refreshments, so anyone who fancies a sort of cheeky burger, they'll be right at their street. Free parking, but I don't have any details of any costs at the actual entry fee on that one.
Are the burgers a 1-to-1 scale?
Maybe. I think they're 1/24th, actually.
Oh, fair enough.
Then we've got on the same weekend, but this is a 2-day event. This is the Saturday the 4th and Sunday the 5th. We have the IPMS Ireland Nationals, which is on Saturday it's 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday is 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. This is being held at the Lucan Spa Hotel, Junction 4A, Lucan, County Dublin, and in Ireland. The admission is €5, free for under 14s with a full paying adult, and you get free entry for any worldwide IPMS member.
Ooh.
You have to make sure you have your valid membership card with you. So if anybody's on holidaying in Ireland and fancies it, then this could be right up their street. They're going to have traders and club displays, an open competition. They're going to have a kit swap on Saturday and a raffle on Sunday. Then we have Sunday the 5th of October. We've got IPMS Brampton St Ives Model Show, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m, which is being held at Burgess Hall, Westwood Road, St Ives. That's Papa Echo 27 6 Delta Whiskey. 60 plus club displays. Sounds a lot, doesn't it?
Doesn't it just?
There's 20 plus traders.
Ooh.
Yeah, so there's going to be some serious stuff there. The Airfix make and paint, usual setup, refreshments, and the best table display competition. Again, another £3 entry fee, and concessions are only £1.50. So that's another bargain with 20 plus traders.
More money to spend on models.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we move on to the weekend after, which is Saturday the 11th. And this one, I'm going European. Okay, so Saturday the 11th and Sunday the 12th of October, we have Plastic and Steel 2025, which is the IPMS Belgium Nationals. Has a new date and a new venue, which is the GC Klein Boom. I'm not even going to pronounce the next bit because I'll just ruin it. In Belgium, but people can find out more information about this at www.plasticandsteel.be. So that sounds like it'd be a good event. Then we have Saturday the 11th of October, we've got Thatcham Model Show, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m, which is at the Thatcham Memorial Hall, Brownsfield Road. That is Romeo Golf 183 Alpha Golf. And that forms part of this year's Thatcham's Arts Festival. So there's going to be more than just plastic model kits on show. There'll be all sorts of things from Lego, Meccano, model railways, live steam, and lots more. And that one is free entry. It's even more of a bargain there. Then we have the Remy Museum Model Show, which is at the Remy Museum, MOD Lynham, Wiltshire. That is Sierra November 15 4 X-Ray X-Ray. And that has their annual military and transport themed model show. And it's got various clubs and individuals from across the country, showcasing scale models, remote controlled tanks, plus many traders willing to part with your hard-earned cash. More details about that event, including the admission fees, can be found at www.rememuseum, that's R-E-M-E museum.org.uk. Oh, I'm going to take a big deep breath. Then we've got the Highland Scale Model Show, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., which is at the Mora via North Road, Kinloss, Scotland. Postcode for that one is, this is where my phonetic alphabet's going to fall apart.
We're waiting. Big build up.
It is Indigo Victor 363 Yankee Alpha. I got that right? No? Oh dear, okay.
India.
India. I don't know.
So you were doing so well.
I was, wasn't I? But I've got no other details of this show, so unfortunately I can't help anybody in Scotland on that one. But you can find more information on the IPMS UK.org website, and I think there's a contact detail on that one if you're interested in that show. And the last one for the shows is Sunday the 12th of October, which is Lincoln IPMS Scale Model Show, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. This is being held at the Exo Centre Lincolnshire Showground in Lincoln. Lima November 2 to November Alpha. They've got a new venue this year for 2025, bigger and better. Dedicated room for the competition, a catering van, adults of £5 with under 16s free.
I've got one which is a little bit further afield, which is from our colleagues from the Model Geeks podcast, which is for PAXCON 25, which is being held at the Hollywood Volunteer Fire Department, 24801 Three Notch Road, Hollywood in Maryland, which is on the 4th of October. One-day show, but promises to be absolutely fantastic, and you can go and badger the Model Geeks and get loads of their merch that they've actually got on sale as well.
Sounds brilliant. I mean, you've beaten me. I thought I was going, by being European and going Belgium, I'd stretch my reach, but obviously I've been beaten by our colleagues over the pond.
Okay, so have you got any updates for us for Scale Model World at Telford? I've seen that flyers are now available with details of where you can actually get your tickets.
Yes, I do. So if you've been working really hard on that project, that you're ready to enter into the competition, you can now get your competition entry online, which is, so the entries are actually on the website ipmsuk.org. So you can now go online, fill in your entry form, enter the category you want, the details about the particular build you want to enter, and all of those things. And I do encourage people to do that sooner rather than later, so it kind of makes no last minute panics for themselves and the competition team at Scale Model World. Also, the booking for the IPMS evening dinner is also available on the website. So if anyone wants to go along to that event, it's quite informal. People do like to dress up, but it's very informal, and it's quite a nice chance to catch up with people. And that's held at the Holiday Inn Hotel, I believe it is. And there's a menu that was recently in the most recent issue of the magazine, but it's also on the website as well.
If it's not the Holiday Inn, you'll be sat on your own and having conversation with some complete random stranger. So I suggest you have a look in the magazine to check.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would. Don't take my, even though I'll be there, I might be sat on my own. And then we have this. There's also the full trader list, which is on there as well. That's being constantly updated. But I've picked out a few of my highlights on there. So my highlights would be e-models are going to be back as well. They were there last year. Always quite good for picking up tools and stuff like that. Elan 13 miniatures, which is one of my personal favourites. I love their stuff, and I've got various purchases from them of all sorts. And a new one for this year, Model U, which are the people that do the 3D scanning, who are very big in the model railway scene and been to various events. And I've seen their stuff actually at an event last year. So if you fancy having a 3D render of yourself stood next to a Spitfire or a Sherman tank, you can now have that done. And I think you can even be dressed up in the particular uniform as well. So it's fully immersive. Another one is Copper State Models. They're going to be there as well. They have these really, really lovely 1/35th scale armoured vehicles, a lot of World War One subjects, beautiful. And then Zukimura is going to be making a return, who haven't been there for a few years. So they're going to be there on display with lots of their new stuff, hopefully. And then one thing that's not necessarily 100% confirmed, but there possibly be some demos from Harder and Steamback airbrushes. So I actually have a Harder and Steamback airbrush and I love it, but I know a lot of people struggle sometimes with them. So this is a perfect opportunity to actually chat to the people that make this stuff or use it regularly and understand if you've got an issue with something, they can help you out with it. So that's going to be a really good opportunity to speak to people. And then the last thing for me, this is a really, really important piece of information, that people must have a valid in-date IPMS UK membership card if they want to get their free entry to Scale Model World. And also, there will be no membership renewals after the 31st of October until after the event is finished. So that's after the 9th of November. But please don't leave it to the 29th of October to renew your membership, because there is a high chance that not only do our overwhelmed membership team might not be able to get the car back to you, but good old Royal Mail might strike and you might not get it. So pre-plan, make sure you get it sorted out well in advance rather than leaving it to the last minute.
Good advice. And another trader that we had on the last episode, Mark Robson from Qatari Models in New Zealand, is planning to be at the show as well, I believe. And he intimated in the last episode a new announcement.
Oh, I love that. I love a new announcement. There's always the talk about whether Airfix will have something new, but so it'd be quite nice for a new trader, somebody else a bit different, to be stealing their limelight.
Absolutely. Okay, until the next time, Mark, and hopefully, just trying to think through the episode numbers. I think it's episode 13, a little bit into the distance, as this is episode 10, but we have a whole episode dedicated to Scale Model World at Telford, and fingers crossed, quite a large amount of the exec board will be on the pod, having chats about different parts of the show, etc.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And hopefully my phonetic alphabet will be absolutely top-notch by then.
You've got no chance. Anyway, till the next time, keep practicing, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, Brownie. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Think you've heard it all? Think again. Follow Beyond the Box Art on the socials for updates that breaks the boundaries, bends rules, and redefines the ordinary. Gather close. It's Wongy's Wisdom, the only segment where scale modelling becomes a martial art, and Chairman Wong is already 2 moves ahead of you.
It's been a while. I'll do a very quick one. I'd like to talk to you about a quick way, not quite cheap, but a quick way of making formation lights on these modern jets. You've seen them on F-14s and F-35s, anything which has got that, I call it the slime lights. Paul, you know what the proper word is, don't you?
Formation lights.
Formation lights, yeah. Slime lights, yeah. It's the same. It's the luminous green effect paint that they have, which when they charge it, if there's an electrical charge that goes through it, I think it starts glowing, a certain sort of fluorescence comes out of the paint.
I think the term is an electroluminescent panel.
You see, I can't say those words that big. Anyway, right, on to how you do it. Right, so what I did was I went on to a certain river in South America website, and I looked up luminous tape, and you can buy this stuff. I think you get something like, you can get a 1-inch tape wide. There's like 30 foot of it. What I would suggest is just get yourself the cheapest one there, because one piece of tape will go a long, long way and a long way. And then all you need to do, and this is how easy it is, just measure it's usually on a decal, measure the kit, and just measure out the slime lights, how long they are, and just basically slice yourself off some from the tape. You undo the sticky back plastic on the back of it, and then you just position it with your tweezers and press, and hey presto, when you actually shine some light on it, it does actually give you the effect. And not only does it give you the effect, it actually looks bloody good, in my view, in the end. You guys are seeing that with, hang on, I'm going to turn the lights off. Yeah, go on.
How thick is it when you apply it? Is it quite a thick material, or is it nice and thin?
It's less than, best way to describe it is it's like sellotape.
Oh, right, okay. So is it as sticky as sellotape as well?
Yep, indeed you do.
So there's no way it's going to pop off.
Wongy, what stage do you put that on when you're going to stick it on the model? Before or after matte coating? Or I'm a bit confused. Is it decal?
No. Just wait till decals on final gloss coat or matte coat, whatever you want to do. And before you put it on your display base, cut it off and just stick it on. That's it.
I suppose if you mat it, you could kill it off, couldn't you? Is there a danger of that?
That's what I wondered, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mat it myself. I would just... There's a semi-gloss sheen to it, shall we say. So I would just use the tape as it is and just stick it on. And besides which, you don't really want to overcoat it anyway, because if it goes off, then you can peel it off and do it again, can't you?
Silly thought, could you actually put the kit decor for the slime light onto the tape, use it as a template? After you've actually put the decor onto the film, use that as a template, cut it off, and then remove the decor, take the backing off, and then you put it onto the model?
Yes, you could. I just measured it off the aircraft anyway and just cut it. So there you have it. That's Wongy's 5-minute wisdom.
Beyond the Box Art is proudly sponsored by Ammo by Mig Jimenez. For all your weathering essentials, please visit ammo.es. Please support veterans, service personnel and blue light services through scale modelling therapy. Visit modelsforheroes.org.uk, where plastic, paint and purpose come together. Benchmates, it's time for the Stash Inflation Report, the segment that proves your stash isn't too big, it's just economically ambitious.
After a short break, we have a bumper list of goodies for you to spend your cash on. So we'll begin with Micromer. The Ukrainian manufacturer has confirmed work is in progress and well on the way for their new tool, 1/72nd Britain-Norman Trilander. CAD images are already public and tooling work on the moulds is now underway. The Trilander is a stretched 3-engine development of the Islander and has never been kitted before in mainstream plastic, making this a significant announcement from the Ukrainian company. Over in Japan, Fine Molds continue their reputation for high-quality tooling with not one but two new boxings of an F-104J Starfighter in 1/72nd scale. First box, titled Iku, celebrates the glory nickname given to the aircraft in the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force service. The second, Senkyu, focuses on competition liveries, including the distinctive blue-grey camouflage of the 202 Squadron in the 1980 tactical competition and 207th Squadron 1984 scheme. Both kits feature fine recessed panel lines, extremely thin intakes and wing leading edges, and clever breakdowns along panel lines to preserve surface detail. Tooling is completely new, not a rework of the earlier F-104s, and both are due to be released in December 2025, and are already being heralded as the replacement for the Hasegawa 1/72nd as the go-to F-104 kits. At the smaller end of the scale, Mini-Wing are preparing a 1/144th de Havilland Canada L-20A. This light utility aircraft, better known as the Military Beaver, is well suited to Mini-Wing's resin and short-run style, and will be a welcome addition for 1/144th scale enthusiasts. For detailers, Rocket Studio are releasing a 1/72nd undercarriage upgrade set for the Academy F-18E Super Hornet. The upgrade aims to correct the proportions and sharpen details in one of the kit's weaker areas. And from the CAD images that are displayed online, even the brake lines are actually represented, and this is 1/72nd scale. The quality is ridiculous. Armour Hobby in Poland have announced their next big subject, a 1/48th Hawker Hurricane Mark 1. Armour's 1/72nd Hurricanes won international praise for their accuracy and detail, so expectations for this larger scale release are high. Early test shots suggest crisp surface textures and well-researched options. From the Czech Republic, Valom will be releasing a 1/72nd Vickers Viking this October. The Viking was Britain's first post-war short-haul airliner, derived from the Wellington bomber, and this kit looks set to capture a unique place in aviation history. One can only hope that a Vickers Varsity will be coming along very shortly behind it. Masking specialists One-Man Army have announced a fresh batch of 1/32nd scale sets. The new releases cover the Hawker Hurricane Mark II-C in 1/32nd for the Revell kit, the Messerschmitt Bf109K4 for the Qatari, the Houghton HO229A and B, and the Supermarine Spitfire Mark 8. Also the Messerschmitt P1101 jet prototype are catered for. As always, these are laser-cut, reusable paint masks designed for crisp markings and stenciling without decals. And if you've never tried them, you really need to. The difference is unbelievable. Kinetic are adding another boxing to their F-16 family with a 148th F-16A MLU or midlife update for the Tiger Meet 2009 from the Portuguese Air Force. Featuring flamboyant tiger-striped markings, this kit is scheduled for release around late September, early October 2025. British cottage manufacturer Freight Dog Models will debut their 172nd Percival Prentice at Scale Model World in Telford. The post-war RAF trainer has long been overlooked, so this release will be an important gap in the 172nd scale collection. Finally, a headline announcement from Trumpeter. Company has revealed an all-new 148th Hawker Siddeley Buccaneer. It's a completely fresh tooling of the famous Royal Navy and RAF low-level strike aircraft. Rumours suggest up to 5 different boxings are planned, covering both the S1 and S2 variants, along with export versions, so South Africa will be covered. For many modelers, this may become the definitive Buccaneer in quarter scale, but they're going to have to go a hell of a long way to beat what Airfix put out recently. And with that, we'll go across to Nevs for the Nauticals.
Well, as I always try and say, Brownie, I have to caveat the naval scene because it's dominated by this monopoly who like to repop the previous releases, but often with new parts. So starting in that trend, for Jimmy, they're reboxing their 1/700 scale Japanese cruiser Ibuki. It would have been the follow-on to the Mogami class of heavy cruiser. This will be a full hull injection molded kit, which is where the kit departs from the original tooling from 2020. It will depict the ship if it had been completed as a cruiser instead of being cannibalized into a never-were aircraft carrier. The kit will include no less than 30 sprues, so he's unlikely to be found in Wongy's shopping basket anytime soon. For Jimmy, we're also re-releasing the Mogami in 700 scale, but it's in its refit as an aircraft carrying cruiser, so it is full hull again, but it features a rear deck crammed with float planes. Kare Models are releasing a 1/350th full hull LHD Tarawa class. This will be a resin 3D printed kit of the US amphibious assault ship. For anyone wondering who Yakari are, these are a Chilean manufacturer tailored to producing kits exclusively for Wongy, as this will be made of just 30 parts. And then last but not least, Border Model have announced a really interesting 1/350th scale parallel world Yamato class battleship from 1965. This will either be set in a universe where the Japanese win the Second World War, or where Yamato survives into the post-war Japanese self-defense force. The kit is just an adaptation of Border Model's 2024 touring of Yamato, but the box art features Yamato sailing under the Golden Gates Bridge with its 18-inch guns, as well as a Kamov helicopter on the stern and several large missile launchers on the port and starboard sides. For any fans of Man in the High Castle, this might be an interesting build, but personally I'm not so convinced about the Russification of the ship, and I'd more likely be scratch building a 700th 1965 Yamato, which is faithful to the TV show.
Thanks, Nevs. We begin with Army Painter, who are set to expand their speed paint line with a new concept, the Speed Paint Marker Starter Set. This package includes 10 colours, 9 rich acrylic tones and 1 metallic, all preloaded into portable felt tech markers. The idea is to allow painters to switch instantly and apply detail or bulk coverage without needing a brush, palette or cleanup. The set also comes with 10 replacement tips, plus a painting guide and care booklet to help modelers get the best out of the system. Moving on to Copper State Models, one of my favourites, who are preparing a very characterful figure set, German Army Cyclists. The set depicts two German soldiers, one with a bicycle slung over his shoulder, the other casually walking and smoking. These will be 3D printed figures, released both in 1/32nd and 1/35th scale. Important note, the bicycles themselves are not included, but Copper State are also working on wartime variations, including spring-spoked wheels without rubber tyres, an ingenious solution used in periods of scarcity. Test prints are already in hand and release is expected soon. From Thunder Model comes a substantial new kit, the 135th US Heavy Wrecker Ward LaFrance M1A1 in a special bonus edition. This version contains over 700 parts across 10 sprues with clear parts, photo etch, scale ropes and chains, plus 10 3D printed parts. Extras include a vac-formed cab canvas, a folded 3D printed canvas option, 2 resin cast crewman figures. The kit also provides 5 different decal options, making this one of the most complete presentations of the Ward LaFrance to date. Release is expected at the end of September. Turning to accessories, Black Dog have announced new 1/16th scale sets. First, 2 British SAS Jeep accessory packs designed for the TACOM kit. Alongside these, they've also developed 2 new detail sets for Das Works 1/16th SD KFZ 251/1, expanding options for super detailing these large-scale builds. Finally, Mini Art continue their prolific output with a new figure set, a full 5-man crew for the 135th SD KFZ 234/4 Schwerer Panzerspiel, boxed under kit number 53104. The figures are posed to match the vehicle in action, giving modelers a complete scene straight from the box.
Behind every aftermarket innovation is someone who truly understands modelers. Precision by Passion celebrates those who don't just supply the detail, they are the detail.
Benchmates, for this episode we're joined by someone who wears more hats in this hobby than most of us have unbuilt kits in the stash. Chris Meddings is the driving force behind Inside the Armour 3, the latest chapter in his publishing journey, following on from the original Inside the Armour books that inspired so many modelers worldwide. Chris has not only built a reputation as a respected modeler and author, but he's also embraced new technology, learning CAD and running a 3D printing business. From the early days of authoring detailed Armour titles, through to his own modelling podcasts, namely The Model Philosopher, where he explores the philosophical side of scale modelling, and the Models from Ukraine podcast. Chris has shown how passion and persistence can shape a career in our hobby. So it's our pleasure to welcome him to Beyond the Box Art. Chris, thank you for joining us, and I'll jump straight in with the first question. Running a hobby business is not exactly a 9-to-5 Monday to Friday job like most of us have to endure. In the hobby sector, you have to wear many hats. How do you balance the technical demands of product development with a business side like marketing, customer support, and the distribution logistics?
Not to answer the question directly, but I would say, and this will make me quite unpopular with some people, a lot of people go into the hobby business, usually like quite often after redundancy or because, they want to make a bit of extra money or something like that. And they have a real passion for the hobby and for the models. And they really know an awful lot about models, about their subjects, and are probably really good at scratch building or 3D or something like that. But they don't know anything about business. The most important thing you need to run a hobby business is to know about business. Because this is the third iteration of Inside the Armour. And to be honest, the first one, that's what it was like for me. And I learned a lot of lessons the hard way, and I lost a lot of money spending an awful lot of hours working. Some days I was working 18 hours a day, and really I didn't make much money at all. And I've had to learn sort of how to run a business along the way. I kind of knew some stuff because I came from sales background. I was in a headhunter and in sales for about 5 or 6 years after leaving university before I started this. But yeah, I had to learn the hard way. And the business side is where most people fall down. So the number one, you have to basically have priorities. And the number one priority is always orders and customer service. So that's the first thing I do after I've had my coffee in the morning. I was going to say when I wake up, but no, obviously I have to get out of bed and get dressed and things and have a cup of coffee and that sort of stuff. But as soon as I sit down to work, the first thing I do is orders and emails and customer service.
Mm.
And then after that, I put the printer on. And then while it's printing, that's when I do design work and other work, basically. So as a business, the greatest resource you have is customers. And if you look after them, they'll look after you. You do get the 5% who you wish weren't your customers sometimes, and probably are only once. And you treat them just the same as you would anyone else, but they don't come back because people tend to think you're Amazon, and they tend to think that everything is done same day. I mean, I've had someone, I posted something on a Friday or Monday demanding to know why it's not there. And it's, well, you didn't pay for next day delivery. And if you didn't, then it's probably not going to be there on Monday. It's a weekend. But most of them are fantastic. And if you focus on customers first, a lot of your customers are repeat customers. And I would say a huge proportion of my income comes from repeat customers. And they only come back if they like your product and they like you. So you better look after them, basically. But it is difficult. Being a one-man business, it's almost impossible to do it all. And I've reached a point where it's become a real issue for expansion and growth for the business, because there's just not enough hours in the day and I've only got 2 hands.
How does it affect you health-wise? You said you used to spend up to sort of 16 hours a day working, etc. Obviously, it can't be healthy actually spending that much time working all the time and actually having to try and resolve all the issues you've actually got. As you said, some customers are not easy. Obviously, not saying that all are difficult, but how does that actually affect you as the young person rather than a business?
Anyone that knows me knows I've had a lot of mental health problems in the past with anxiety and depression and things. And long hours is really, really bad for that. But at the same time, working is a great distraction if that's the problem you've got.
Yeah.
But I don't work those kind of hours now, not unless I've had a huge order in from Hannants or something and I need to get it out. They don't pressure me, but I try and get their orders out in a week.
Yeah.
If I give them good service, they'll come back with orders more often and they'll be happier to work with me. Because with a big company like that, you can't expect them to work how you want to work. They've got systems, they've got staff, they've got warehouses that have certain systems and everything else, and you need to fit in. So, you need to work to them, basically. But I'm digressing again. So unless I've got a big order like that, I try to work 9 to 5, 9 to 7, and spend more time because, I've got a young son and I've got a wife and everything. And if you don't look after them as well, then before you know it, you've got a business and not much else, frankly.
Yeah, true. Very true. Okay, so moving on, as the hobby industry evolves, particularly with younger generations shifting towards digital or instant access hobbies, how do you ensure Inside the Armour stays relevant and appealing to a wide demographic of modelers?
That's kind of not my job because I'm not Tamiya or Airfix. And even Airfix, I think, have given up to a certain extent on appealing to a wide demographic of modelers. I think they're largely aimed at middle-aged men, particularly with all the Cold War releases and so on.
I thought you were going to say middle-aged spread for a minute.
No, that's what you get when you sit there building too many Airfix kits or anyone else's kits for that matter. I've certainly got plenty of that. You have to it's a niche business and you have to find your audience and look after your audience. And that's what I do, basically. I'll leave Bandai to worry about looking after that. But I would say I was listening recently to Joan Biediger's new podcast, Her Shrink Ray Eye. And she made a really good point on the latest episode about women in the hobby and how there aren't enough of them and so on, that the hobby is missing out on 50% of the target age range for hobbies. So women our age who grew up in the same culture we did don't model. Why is that? And if we're looking at bringing in kids, we should be looking at bringing them in too.
Very good point.
I mean, I don't know what we do to bring them in. I'm not saying that, the hobby needs to change to accommodate them, but I'm just saying it's shocking, really. Well, 48% maybe of the adult population doesn't do modelling. It's kind of outside of modelling.
I know we have a couple of females in our branch of IPMS at Bolton, and I was intending to try and get both of them onto the pod to actually talk about their experience in the hobby, but to find out why they've actually come into the hobby and what they're actually modelling is going to be quite an interesting conversation itself, I think.
Because as Joan was saying, there are women engineers, there are women in the military. There's no reason why they wouldn't be interested in the same subjects. So it is a big question why they're not in it. Go back to your question, what do I do to appeal? I find the audience and I try and make what the audience wants, basically. And as we said before we started recording, a lot of it purely comes down to looking at what the latest new toolkits are and producing stuff for that.
Okay, so you're looking at new releases and what you can actually bring to that release to basically enhance what's been made by injection molding, which in the injection molding process can't actually capture.
It's interesting because Edward recently put up a video about their new S199, the Czech version of the Avia built post-war BF109.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a hybrid kit. And the wings and fuselage and the canopy and some of the other parts are going to be plastic and the rest is going to be 3D. Mm-hmm. And they went into a lot of detail. It's very interesting about why they did it. And I can recognize a lot of it. If you want surface detail, like engraved panel lines and rivets and so on, and you want them to be really nice and really sharp and a beautiful smooth surface, injection molding is the best way to do it. Mm. But if you want very refined, sort of complex detail that can't essentially be demolded from a two-part mold, which is a lot of things, then 3D is the best way to do it. So they do a mix of both, using the strengths and weaknesses of both. People say, 3D will replace injection molding. Not if you want kits with the same beautiful surface you have now. Mm. But it will, I think the way Edward is going, it will happen more and more, especially as the cost of printing goes down and running a print farms. Mm. I don't know if you have ResKit's print farm, but they've got, they must have 50, 60 printers running constantly.
Yeah. We've got ResKit coming on very shortly to actually discuss the process. So yes, that'll be an interesting one to actually see how they actually manage to do the mass production. But you say 50 to 60 printers, that's a hell of a lot.
They had a lot of trouble early in the war as well. I interviewed them a couple of times on my Models for Ukraine podcast with power, because Russia was targeting the power infrastructure. And of course, if you interrupt a print, the print's screwed. They had a lot of trouble with power interruption and stuff like that. But I think they've resolved that now. I'd be interested to hear that when they come on.
I'll ask if they've actually got UPSs in the system, because by the sound of it, they've actually got something to actually bridge between the power out and obviously losing a print run. But okay, thanks for that. Dan.
Inside the Armour has released 3D printed accessories and kits. Can you walk us through the technical workflow from concept to finished product? For example, what software and materials you're using, and how do you ensure consistency across your production runs?
Well, it starts with choosing the subject. And that, as I said earlier, that's partly, so I think a new release is particularly sexy and a lot of people are going to like it, then I'll have a look at it. But it's also partly, I look at the sort of the early release CAD and test shots from the manufacturer and decide whether there's something there I can do. So the first thing is, can I do it? Is it feasibility, basically? Then once I get it, I get the kit. No company, well, apart from a couple of companies I can't talk about, but certainly not Airfix, no company will give you CAD to work from. So you have to get the kit and then measure the kit and then design it from that, just like you would do in the old days of hand mastering. So then I'll sit down and design it. Stalwart, luckily, was quite fast, but I'm working on the Airfix 172nd Wessex at the moment. And the amount of research and the amount of work drawing it is incredible because it's a complex machine. So that takes a very long time. Then once that's done, usually once the basic forms are there, because a lot of the smaller refined detail, it will print, so it's not a big problem, but you need to know it'll fit. So once the basic forms are there, I'll run a quick test print and then check it against the kit, make adjustments, go back, carry on. Because there's no point spending 300 hours designing a part and then finding it doesn't fit when you could have found out right at the start and sorted it out. Also, people say, how'd you get the measurements of the real thing? Measurements of the real thing are really important, but people tend to think that you design based purely on that. No, the prime measurements, the most important measurements you'll make are on the kit. But if it doesn't fit the kit, it doesn't matter how pretty it is, basically. You could have the most wonderful, beautiful part in the world. If it doesn't fit, it's junk for you. For that kit, well, either that or you redesign the kit to fit the aftermarket, which is a back assword, basically.
Yeah, I know in the modelling world, they soon find out, don't they? And it goes out, and before you know it, you're not selling anything.
Yeah. And also, we all know from building a Tamiya kit, that sort of feeling you get where you go to test fit the part and it just goes click. It's just, that's brilliant. So that's what I try and do. I try and design for that, so that it just drops in. Also, I try and design so that you don't need to do surgery to the kit. I'd rather make it a bigger part and replace the part that it's going into with the two things combined than have to get people to cut up kits. because I'm always worried that someone who's new to aftermarket will chop up their kit, make a bad job of it, and ruin their kit. It's so depressing and so downheartening for that to happen. So I try and make drop fit parts basically to remove that problem.
Yeah.
Then, so if we go on to the thing, I use stereolithograph SLA printers, which are resin printers. So there's two types of printer. There's the string printers that people use, particularly for making things like, if you've ever seen or bought those holders for your Tamiya extra thin, they're done with string printers, which are, it's an extruded plastic string basically. Yeah, they call it filament, but I call them spaghetti printers.
It's a filament. Yeah.
And they build up the filament, they deposit the filament, build it up and fuse it together as it goes up. That's really good for strength because it's more like ABS plastic, but it's really bad for detail. Because I focus on detail parts, I use a resin printer. And I try and use a low odor resin because I currently print at home, although I'm moving to premises soon. And I use a lot of ventilation. I've got a couple of IKEA air purifiers as well, just to try and be as healthy as possible because you've got to look after your health. Having a wonderful 3D business, getting to 65 and having emphysema. None of that plastic will keep you happy in hospital. So look after yourself, basically. So yeah, I'll do the test print, go back to the adjustments. And then I like to design a cage to go around it, which protects it in transit. A lot of people like that, but it's purely for me, basically, because the cage means I spend less money replacing stuff that gets damaged in shipping. Because if something gets damaged on the way to someone and they send me a photo, I can't go, oh, well, bad luck. I've got to replace it. They pay to receive a product in good condition. So that's what I have to make sure they get. And so I package that in a plastic box, which has a label on it and it's bubble wrap in it, and which goes in a shipping box with more bubble wrap so that when it arrives, it's in peak condition, basically. And I try and design the supports so that, I should say, when you put supports on, I don't know how many people listening to this do printing. Usually what happens is you generate an STL from the design, you import it into a slicer program that slices it into thousands of slices. And then when it prints it, it exposes a layer, usually around 2 microns of resin with a beam of, with an LED screen underneath, which basically puts the light in the shape of the layer, exposes it, that cures the resin in that shape. It lifts up, comes back down, and exposes another layer onto that, and does that on average for my designs 1,200 times. And usually when you import it into a slicer program, you tell it to do supports. You click on a button that says auto supports and you say how thick you want them, where they meet the part, and how thick you want the tree that goes up to it and everything else. I don't do that. I design all my own infusion, which is the program I use, so that it's the same on everything I print and so that I know everything will print perfectly every single time. So that's how I reduce the quality problems. You did ask how I reduce warp. There's a trade-off in 3D printing between curing time and flexibility. So the harder something is, the more likely it is that when you're clipping off the supports, I don't know how many of you have had this, that it will take a little dimple out of the part, or the part will snap when you put stress on the support.
Yeah, I've had
much like on tiny plastic parts on some kits. I mean, there's a particular part on the AFV Club Churchills, which is a rain gutter that goes over the side doors. I haven't built one yet where I haven't broken that trying to get it off the sprue, because it's a very small weak point. And the same thing happens with supports on 3D parts. You need to design them in such a way that the stress of cutting the support is spread out along other supports and along the box to reduce the stress on the. So the more you cure it, the more likely it is to do that. But the less you cure it, the more likely it is to warp in storage. And there's nothing worse than buying a 3D part, going to build it 3 months from now and finding out you've got a banana rifle. It's just, no one wants that. You could also reduce it by getting the supports to go diagonally, laterally away from a part, so that it, much like a bridge or an arch, it supplies support for the part, not just while it's printing, but in the box to keep it in shape after.
Yeah.
So I try and cure them for the maximum time I can get away with without making them too brittle, which is sometimes 2-3 times longer than most people would cure them.
Have you had to learn the hard way, though, this process?
Yeah, from seeing these parts.
Yeah.
Have you had an issue with undercarriage or similar with the weight? Because I know during the warm summer, some manufacturers had issues where the undercarriage legs started to turn into bananas.
I don't do undercarriage yet for that reason.
Gotcha.
The only one I do is for the Jaguar, and it's why I only do the upper leg on the Jaguar.
Yeah.
Because that part is about 3 millimeters thick.
Yes.
And that could take the weight of 10 models on it, never mind one.
Mm.
And also the lower parts on the kit are fine. It's the upper parts that are a problem, because in the airfits kit, they're done in 2 parts. Right, you buy, I hate filling seams or stuff like that. On round parts with other stuff coming off it, so that you can't even just sort of sand it round. You have to kind of get in between it and try and seal it, and I can't be dealing with that. But also it allowed me to add the wiring and stuff like that. So because those were thick, I am looking at doing, I don't know if I will do it, so no one listening take this as a promise, because it depends whether technically it works, but it's worth a try. Landing gear for the 172nd Wessex. But if I do, the trick is going to be printing them at a tube with a very thin wall that you put a metal bar inside to give it the strength. And I know that's how some other people do it as well. Essentially, the piston, the oleo operates. They usually make that the metal bar. And that's what I'll do, is to try and print it in such a way that you can insert a brass rod or a solid aluminium rod or something that will give it the strength. Because the last thing I want, like you say, if you spend 200 hours on a beautiful aircraft and you put it on your shelf and you go back and look at it a month later and it's wonky, that's 200 hours you've wasted. We've all fixed models, but they're never quite the same as when you first build them.
Obviously, 3D printing is great, and there's a few of us that have got our own 3D printers now. In terms of the business, and I know you touched on this at the start, in terms of the challenges you've had coming out of the publishing world, how's Brexit affected your relationship with suppliers based in the EU and customers based in the EU? Are you facing things like delays at customs? What kind of loss of business has that had an impact on you?
I don't buy anything for the business from the EU. I don't need to. The UK market is really good, I'll be honest, though, and it grieves me to say it because, well, for various reasons. Most of what I buy comes from China. So the resin, the machines, the plastic boxes I package all comes from China. I might get the plastic boxes from Amazon. I've bought them from Temu before, and it's the same boxes. So whoever's selling them on Amazon is buying them from Temu, splitting them up, and putting a markup on it. So it's the same. There's some factory in Shenzhen turning out billions of these things. So, except one, actually, the business card boxes I put bigger items in and combined orders in is made by a company that produces them in the UK, a plastics company that produces their stuff in the UK. And I do like to support UK business wherever I can.
Yeah.
Just because, like when I was printing, I always tried to use a printer from Bristol.
Yeah.
Because once you get a good relationship going, if you need to, you can go down and see them if there's a problem. And I think, especially in the economy we got, as much as you can, you need to help other people to keep obsolete if you can. But no one in Britain makes decent printers, so I can't get them from there. Selling to Europe, basically I can't anymore. Brexit absolutely destroyed my book business overnight, pretty much. That and we were promised during Brexit, I don't want to get into politics, this is purely about the financial side of it. We were promised during Brexit we could do more business with other countries like Australia and the USA. But at the same time, the cost of international shipping rocketed before COVID, but certainly during COVID, it went up and up and up, and it didn't come back down after COVID. I mean, during COVID, you could explain it because there was less shipping happening, literal ships happening because of COVID and because ports were closed and everything else. The cost didn't come down when it came back. Partly, I think, as well, the war in Ukraine has put up the cost of fuel, and that's made international shipping more expensive. And now with what's happening in America, that's killed American business as well. So I've had to work around it. And the way I've done that, I've got a partner in the Netherlands called JW Modelbouw, run by a guy I've known for a long time called Jan Willem de Boer. And he prints my stuff under license and sells it and then sends me a cut of basically. But he does all the printing, all the packaging, all the sales, everything else. Then because it's sold inside the EU, I don't have the problem that I would have had, which was that you have to have a legal representative in the EU in case of a court case. And the reason they brought that in apparently was because a lot of non-safety compliant products was coming in from other parts of the world. So they had to do it as a way to stop people getting around the CE mark and, faking the CE mark and that sort of thing, and to make it safer in the EU. And I can understand why they did it, but of course for small business, it's been a nightmare. And now with the US doing the same, I've got John at Matters of Scale, and I've known John for a long time. A lot of people say, well, why don't you just set these up in every country?
Yeah.
You need to have, the problem is you give these people the STLs, you're giving them the intellectual property. And once it's out there, if they chose to and put it for free on Colts or something, there's nothing you could do to stop it. So it has to be people you know and trust, basically. And those are few and far between in the world.
We had John quite a few episodes back, which was really interesting. And it's interesting getting around it with this sort of outsourcing. If you were to compare it with how you'd sell the 3D products before, I take it there's a bit less profit involved in that, in terms of, because you're getting it from you're getting the profit from outsourcing it, but I take it that wouldn't be as much as if you were selling the product directly, would it?
No. I make far more of stuff I produce myself. But what you have to remember is I'm not just giving them a cut for printing it, also for the time spent processing it, packaging it,
Yeah.
For their time, basically. And you have to make it worth it. It's the same with selling to handlers or retailers. You have to give them a good cut. Otherwise, there's no profit in it for them. Why would they do it? You can ask people to help you as a friend, and they probably will.
Mm-hmm.
But long term, you're giving them a burden. And whereas if you're giving them a profit, then they'll, the motivation's there, and you keep your friends basically rather than exploiting, which I definitely don't want to do. So, yeah. But bear in mind also, I've got no costs involved in that other than the design work, which I'm doing for myself anyway.
Yeah.
So it's pure profit in a way.
And you touch on there the sort of the commercial law surrounding the STLs and the licenses. I think it was John when he was on saying you are getting court cases now in the US where, people are being found at these trade fairs with 3D printed items that they don't own the license for.
Yeah.
Kind of jail time that they'd be facing, particularly in the US where you get more of the private lawsuits. It's crazy. I mean, obviously for yourself, you're never going to know what's being printed in Oklahoma, but...
Well, this is why the only STLs I sell are ones that basically I sell them because I don't make a profit on them as printed parts. So I might as well, if they get it out there and I never see them again, you never see a sale from one again, I haven't lost a huge amount. But anything that does sell, anything that's popular, I would never sell the STL for. I just give it to them to use, to Jan Willem and to John to use to print items and sell them, not to sell the STL. And they understand that and they agree with that. And that's why I have to trust them, because also you don't know how many they're printing. So I have to know that these people have integrity before I work with them. And it's why I can't work with just anyone that says, oh, I could do it for you and that sort of thing.
Yeah. I suppose the plus side is, like you say, Chris, you're not having to worry about the distributing costs and the shipping costs, but also not to be an eco warrior about it. For things to be produced more locally going forward in this sort of ever-changing world, that's probably how business is going to work in the future, isn't it? That we outsource to local producers to then distribute it from there.
Like I said, there's the trust issue because you don't know how many they're printing. They might tell you they've sold 10 and they've sold 10,000 for all you know. And they're only paying you for 10. The other problem is quality control, that I've seen things that Jan Willem has printed and I've seen things that John's printed, and I know they're very good at what they do. But I have designed something for a friend that runs a company in Japan, and he tried to get it printed and he couldn't get a good print of it, even though I could print it great at home, because he just didn't know people who were capable of printing to that level, which is not an especially high level, but it's just, I don't know, it didn't work for him basically. So that's the problem on it. Is it's very important to control how your product looks when it's produced and the quality of it, because once a photo of it goes up on the internet outside of the packaging and without people saying where they bought it from, that's your product. And if it's a really bad print, people don't think your prints are bad, and they won't buy from you. So you need to know the quality's there basically, and that's the problem.
Interesting, thank you.
Quick question that comes on from that, Chris, is do you actually do any design work for other manufacturers or small industries?
I used to, but I don't have time to anymore.
Got you.
I don't have time to do my own. I'm looking at potentially hiring, and this is not asking people, because once again, I'm only talking to people that I actually know.
Yeah.
And whose work I know. I'm going out looking for them rather than them looking for me. But I am talking to a couple of people about doing design work for me, just because that's one of the bottlenecks at the moment. I've got two bottlenecks. One is printing capacity, which hopefully is going to be resolved with the new premises. I can go from 2 to 5 machines and print 150% more than I can print at the moment in the same time. But the other bottleneck is design time, that the more time I spend printing for orders and getting, the less time I've got to design. So I used to spend 5 hours a day designing, and now I'm lucky if I get an hour. And most, that's, for instance, the wheels on the stall, or let's say an ejection seat, because I sold quite a lot of ejection seats. One ejection seat takes probably about 40 hours to design. So that's a week's work.
Speaking of which, your seats are absolutely fantastic. Are you thinking going down the Aero Club route and actually doing the whole range for Martin Baker, or are you just going to do specific ones?
I will do more seats. But again, one of the other problems with time is there's too many subjects coming out, because I've got the Wessex, but I also do the 172nd Chinook.
Yeah.
I want to do a full cockpit for the 172nd Airfix HE111 because the cockpit in that's quite basic.
Yeah.
The HE111 has got a fantastically complex seat arrangement for the pilot. And also a lot of kit manufacturers just put an empty space where the aimer sits.
Yeah.
But of course, most of the time there's a mat down there so that he can lie on it and look for his bomb sight. And they don't put that in and stuff like that. So he can lie on it to operate the flexible machine gun at the front, and then he pulls the mat back to operate the bomb sight. So there's lots of things I want to do, but not enough time to do it. But one thing I have started, and I want to get around to finishing, is seats for the Martin Baker for the 4 Phantom in Orsk. It's low priority though, because lots of people already do it. So it's not like I can beat the competition with that one.
One thing you can think about, the Buccaneer in 148th, because I don't know if you've seen the photographs that have gone online today, but Trumpeter are bringing out a new 148th Buccaneer.
You know, I already do the 148 seat for the Buccaneer, right?
I've forgotten you actually did the 148th seat for the Buccaneer, so stand that one completely down, but...
Yeah. I can't remember which it is now. It's the Mark 6, is it?
I think it is the 6.
Yeah, it's a lovely seat. I really enjoyed it. It's a massive seat too. You put it next to the Mark 9. It's huge. I thought, it's just the same scale. And I thought, I've got this wrong. I'll go back and check my measurements. It's like, no, just a really big seat.
We are talking Trumpeter.
Yeah, whether it'll fit Trumpeter is another matter. But adjusting it to fit that is a lot less work than starting from scratch.
Yeah.
I have been, also another thing I've been fiddling around with and trying to get on with is a cockpit for the 172nd Buccaneer. Because the 148 one from Airfix is pretty nice, but the 172nd one's a bit basic.
You're just going to have to do less sleeping and do more design work. It's a simple solution.
Yeah, this is the problem. The other thing is I haven't actually built a model myself now for 4 months.
Wow.
I just haven't had time to touch a model. So
what do you build? Are you an Armour modeler or anything that takes your fancy?
I do Armour, figures, ships, aircraft, Warhammer, pretty much anything.
The full remit.
Yeah. Mainly Armour, although for a long time, when I was editor of Scale Aircraft Modelling, I only did aircraft. And I did ships solidly for about a year, about 6-7 years ago. And I still get people saying I'm a ship modeler. It's like, that was 7 years ago.
Was that with a P or a T?
Yeah, you have to be careful when you say that one.
Shit.
Armour's what attracts me at the moment, back to Armour, because I built a lot of stuff based around the Ukraine war, a lot of it to raise money for.
As a youngster, what did you start off building? What sort of got you into modelling in the first place?
Go on, guess.
Spitfires?
Yes, yeah, Spitfires. Yeah. My dad was in the Royal Marines, so he always tried to sort of nudge me towards the Royal Navy.
All right.
There weren't very many good ship kits back then, and there's nothing Royal Marines unless you want to do figures, basically. I couldn't really do that. I'd like to do that. I'd like to do the Snowcats they took to the Falklands. When he went to the Falklands, he was in Commando Logistics Regiment at Koipoor, and I used to go down there and watch them. They used to have like their own version of the gun race, but with logs, the log race, where they would use snowcats and stuff in it as well. And it was great fun. And watch the Gazelles, Army Air Corps attached to the Commandos, taking off and landing and stuff like that. And that was really good as well.
3 CBAS from memory, the unit?
Maybe. I wish we had a good Gazelle, to be honest.
That's true. That is true.
I have thought about designing one, because there was one from AMP a little while.
What scale?
148, or maybe 32 as well, though, because I mean, it's quite a small helicopter. And you can have a lot of fun with the Commando ones where they've rigged them up with rocket pods and stuff as well.
Very much so.
Literally just stuck a bar in the side and put a pod on it. It's not very technical stuff.
Scaffold tube.
How many actual manufacturers did the Gazelle? No, Airfix did it. Pretty much it.
I think Hella did one as well.
Did they?
And I think Fujimi did a 172nd one or something. And AMP did a 148 one recently, but none of the glazing fits at all.
Oh, that's going to be scary then, isn't it?
Not even close. Yeah. I've got a vac form machine and I've been looking at vac forming one, but it's just, that again is bottom of the list of priorities, frankly.
Life's too short for vac form, mate.
Oh, I got quite good at it at one point, but then I lost the knack and it was very frustrating.
Like you mentioned earlier on, there's nothing quite like that click when a Tamiya goes together.
Yeah, it's funny. People say that Tamiya aren't detailed enough, but they don't appreciate the sheer quality of the engineering on Tamiya. Yeah.
It's one or the other, isn't it? It's either the fit or the ease and the joy of the build goes up against the actual detail that's within it or on it. Because it tends to be a little bit bland here and there, especially surface detail now and again.
Well, Mr. Tamiya, rest in peace, always said that his desire was to recreate the joy of building a model when you were a child, that it's about the joy of building. He said if people want to like make it a fantastically detailed model, they can do that, but he wants to give them the joy of building, basically.
Yeah.
And I think they achieve that spectacularly.
So it applies the basic, you do the rest.
Well, it's a bit more than basic, because I mean...
Well, you know what I mean.
Other people supply the basic, but you have to fight the bloody thing to get it together. Or like Hobby Boss, quite often, it's close, but not quite close enough. So it looks great in the box, but it's just a bit...
Yeah, something's usually a little bit out here or there, isn't it?
Bit of filler somewhere.
Can't be the wrong shape, that kind of thing.
Well, it always looks like they get so far and then they just can't be bothered. They just release it anyway.
It's hit the price point, hasn't it, with design?
Yeah.
Just get it out there.
Yeah. I mean, they are cheaper as well, aren't they, Hobby Boss? It's trumped a sort of discount brand almost. But also the less popular subjects, perhaps, that they don't expect to sell huge numbers of.
True, and it does actually fill a void that otherwise you'd have to scratch build, so you've got a basis to actually continue the scratch build from, as it were. But at least it's actually something rather than nothing. But yes, basic is pretty close to it, I think.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you see as the biggest technical challenge or disruption coming for a small-scale 3D model business over the next 3 to 5 years? Whether it AI, material shortage, or changing buyer behaviour. How is ITA3 planning to stay ahead?
It's kind of you to say I'm ahead.
Always ahead, Chris.
What's your position currently in the Hans chart?
Well, it will change by the time this goes out. So I've got 3 in the top 20, and over the last few months, I've had consistently 2 or 3 or up to 5 in the top 20. So not bad. But the materials, technology, equipment and everything is getting better and cheaper. So that's not a challenge. That's going the other way. In fact, it's got to a point with printers where I saw there's a new 14K machine coming out from Frozen, a new 14K machine coming soon. Modelers don't need 14K. 8 to 12K delivers a resolution which is as good as you can possibly see with the naked eye. Any higher than that, maybe if you do a lot of things with balls on them, because for some reason balls, like spheres, I should say, because all male figures have balls.
Yeah.
But if you've got like spheres, you'll always get somewhere on it where you've got those ring steps. You know what I mean? There was a Ukrainian company. I don't want to say who it was because I can't remember the name and I don't want to say the wrong one. But they did a cowl for an aircraft not long ago, and that had it right slap bang in the top of the cowl. And that's partly an orientation issue, but also partly a case of with rounded things, there's only so much you can do to eliminate it. So maybe it'll do that, but I don't do a lot of that, so I don't worry about it. And when I do cowls, I split them up into parts because usually I do them because you want to see the engine. So you don't want to have to cut them. You know, I designed them so they'll click together and you can do a full cowl if you want. But like I did with the Perseus and the Mercury engines for the Lysander, they'll fit over the engine as well, which the kit cowls wouldn't do because they're too thick. I mean, they'll fit over the Airfix engine, but the Airfix engine's undersized. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent again. So I don't design things like that. I design around it so I don't have that problem. But for some people, it's an unavoidable problem, and maybe they can use 12K machines. But for the rest of us, 8 to 12K is fine at the resolution it can print. You know, I can print relief detail that's less than 0.1 millimeter. The rivets on the bolts on the seats, ejection seats I do, are 0.15 millimeter tall. So they're very, very low. And also it gets to a point where if the detail's too low, yeah, it looks nice on the print, but as soon as you put paint on it, you obliterate it.
Yeah.
What's the point? Even very fine spray with an airbrush, you lose detail. So you need a certain amount of exaggeration of detail so that you can see it once it's printed. So once again, the resolution doesn't matter. So the technology and the tools are only getting better and cheaper. However, there are threats. I mean, my son's doing extremely well at school, both for dad time. So he would not ever want to go anywhere near my business. But if he did and wanted to inherit my business, I would say, no, don't do something else.
Yeah.
Because by the time I come to retire, I actually expect AI to be doing most of the design work.
Right.
And once AI can do the design work, you don't need to buy prints anymore. You just need to buy a printer.
You just need good voice control on what exactly you need, don't you?
Well, as the old expression goes, crap in, crap out. So if you haven't got any good information, you won't get a good design out of it. But for most things, I've even seen someone put up a photo a while ago on the Scale Model Critique group on Facebook, where they asked AI to generate an STL for pilot's helmet for, I can't remember what it was, an F-18 or something. And it actually did an 85%, 90% good job, which was scary. From information it could scrape from the internet. So even though I don't approve of that, I think authored work is good work and AI is stolen work in a lot of ways. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. You have to accept that it's going to be the way things go. And I think AI will get rid of 3D designers in 20, 30 years, probably at latest. The other threat is more plastic companies are doing their own 3D parts, like Magic Factory, like obviously Edward, but Edward was a aftermarket company before it was a plastic company. So it makes sense they would still do their own aftermarket. But I think you'll see it more and more in plastic kits. I think more and more, particularly for things like, I don't know if you guys know Ding Hao Hobby, which is a sub-brand of AFE Club.
Mm-hmm.
But when AFE Club make a kit of something and they want to do like a special version of it with something that they know won't sell in high volume, they'll put resin parts in the kit and sell it as a separate version, like they did with the Yugoslav M5 Honey, which had a different turret, and they just made a turret for it, stuck it in the box, sold a few of them, and didn't bother selling any more of them, kind of thing. Because resin, now 3D print, is low, it's relatively high cost in comparison to plastics. The profit margin is much lower, but also you can produce much lower volume. So if you're not going to sell many, it makes sense. But with 3D printing becoming cheaper and easier for companies to manage in-house, I think most companies will be doing their own aftermarket before too long. So that's the other threat to small business, basically.
I've seen that myself with building this for HMS Sheffield. There's a resin part in there, which is for is it the radar array? I don't even know what type it is.
Yeah, it's the radar.
Yeah.
It's so precise. And when you stack it against the kit plastic part, it's just miles apart in terms of quality. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from in terms of that.
I used to design and have made, send it out to have it made, but designers sell photo etch as well. And I think 3D has killed the photo etch business. I think the photo etch business won't be around in 5 years' time, unfortunately, because I've got a lot of good friends that work in it. That's just an example of how technology is sort of making parts of the business redundant. Also, happened first in ship kits, but it's come across to Armour now. The old hand-mastered cast resin parts, dinosaur stuff now.
Yeah.
I mean, a few people are still doing it, but you look at the likes of in ships, you look at Combrig, which I don't buy anymore because they're a Russian company, but that's all 3D designed hulls and they're absolutely beautiful, really nice, really sharp. But then there's another company, I think Armour in Poland, that make like little French pre-dreadnoughts. They're all hand-mastered. Boy, do they look it. They look like someone carved them out of a potato. But there's only so much you can do in 1/700. You know, no matter how good you are with your hands, there's only so much you can do, and you'll never be able to design it to look like 3D print.
Yeah. Well, apart from me, because I can't operate a computer properly.
Well, anyone that can use CAD at all, wheels are actually very easy. The only tricky part's to tread. So,
right, brilliant. So there you go, kids. Out there in listener land, that's your next task, to join Chris and train up as a CAD operator.
Well, kids are actually. My son learned a bit of CAD in IT at school, and his girlfriend's doing game design, and they're taught to code now and stuff, and they have been for 20 years. You know, the next generation's coming through ready for the digital world, basically.
It's frightening. When I was at school, we had one computer in the whole school, and now you look at it.
Hang on, you had a computer? We didn't even have a computer. We had slide rules.
Here we go.
I was going to say, they just got rid of the slide rule when I went to school.
Blimey, yeah, okay. Logbooks, slide rules.
The old Texas Instrument calculator.
Absolutely. In fact, we used to have this very early type of calculator, and I'm showing my age here, obviously.
Where did you grow up? 1940?
Yeah, just short of it.
He had the abacus.
Yeah, hey, don't knock him.
I'll tell you what, he looks good for his age, doesn't he?
Don't knock those abacuses, bloody hell, hey? Apart from when you tip it to one side and it's recalculated the whole job.
You can't spell boobies on an abacus.
Yeah, that's true. I give up.
He's obviously tried.
Oh, yes.
Oh, dear. Okay, Chris, to wrap things up, where can our Benchmates find details of your products, and are any of the digital titles of the books that you used to sell still available on socials, etc.?
Yeah, you can still buy print copies and digital copies of Modelling Churchills, Soviet Armour in Foreign Wars, Scratchbuilding Masterclass 2, and Models for Ukraine Book 2, which all of the proceeds of the last one go to charity in Ukraine.
And it's a superb book.
First one completely sold out. The two together raised over £35,000 for humanitarian aid to Ukraine. But I've been continuing to donate more money from other things I've produced.
Brilliant.
On a personal basis since then as well. So those are still available physically. Digitally, you can buy all of those, and you can also buy Perfect Pits, which is the small book we did on detailing cockpits, and that's it for the books. And all the very few STLs I do, but also all the print stuff is available from InsideTheArmour.com. Much of it is available from handco.uk, The EU you can buy from JW Modobau. There's a link on my Facebook, Inside the Armour Facebook page for that. On all the posts when I announce products, you can see a link for that. And also from mattersofscale.com in the USA. John started off with a few products, but he's now uploading all my products. So soon my full product range will be available in the US.
Fantastic. Okay, I must say the perfect pits. From memory, the digital version's actually got an extra chapter or two in compared to the print version?
Yeah, we did. I licensed that for publication in Japan. And to make it a bit different from the previous one, we added a chapter from the incredibly talented, you should get him on, he's a phenomenal modeler and a really nice guy, Fanch Lubin.
Yeah, I've got both, so smug mode here, but yes, it's absolutely brilliant. If you're into your scale aircraft modelling, you need to get a copy of this into your archive. It's absolutely brilliant. Okay, well, to settle a long-running argument we've had since we started, going back to your ship modelling days, full hull or woodline?
I do both.
Oh, on the fence.
I like to see some ships in action.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm doing 1/700 Japanese ships or pre-dreadnoughts, I like to put them on a sea. But when I'm scratch building, I like to do full hull because you can't beat the lines. It's just beautiful to look at the lines. When I scratch built the 1350 Suffren, a French pre-dreadnought, that had to be full hull because French pre-dreadnoughts are fat bottom girls and you need to see that bottom. They've got tumble home hulls, so they're wider at the bottom than they are at the top.
I'm saying nothing there.
No, they have. Very wide at the bottom.
So, Nevs, that's 1-1.
Yeah, it's a draw there.
Nevs, I need to ask you, how is the Sheffield? I saw it in the box and it looked nice, but how does it go together?
It's Wongy that's doing the Sheffield.
Oh, sorry, Wongy, yeah.
Chris, all I can say is it's beautiful to put together. Really is. The photo etch in it is brilliant, and it was my first time using photo etch. Obviously, I did the first time, disappeared.
Yeah.
You know, hats off to them. They did have like this sticky plastic on the surface of both sides of the photo etch.
Oh, yeah.
You can cut between them. I had to stick it back on because I removed both, and that's why it went ping. But I stuck it back on, and brilliant. I'm a bit of a convert to it now, but it's only because you start getting muscle memory and not putting too much pressure on. But the lads said to me, especially Mark, he said, yeah, I need one of those sticky little pen things, which I've got, which made the world of difference. Because when you're applying CA glue to it, with mine, it just grips and that's it.
You see how long it takes to get technology to the north. Wongy actually starts with photo etch at the time that everyone else goes to 3D printing.
Yes, indeed.
Well, actually, in ships, there's some things that you can print railings, but they're not very good.
Yeah.
So there are some things that photo etch does a lot better still in ships. With the sticky plastic on them, you only need to remove one side because the tension of the stickiness of the other side will keep it on and you can just lift it off.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Or if you get a sheet that doesn't have that, I always put a bit of masking tape on the back and it sticks to the masking tape then, and then you just got to peel it off the masking tape. Anish, AMY, in Germany, do precision tweezers and they are amazing.
They are.
The best tweezers for doing photo etch. So get yourself a couple pairs of those.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Good tip. Thank you for that. Yeah.
They are superb and they actually meet at the ends. They're brilliant.
Yeah. Not like mine.
Don't drop them in your foot though, because they're sharper than an airbrush needle.
How did you find both of those points out?
I yelled it at the sky.
It was surgically removed in A&E. Yes. But yeah.
The neighbours knew.
Yeah. And look after them. Yeah. Never heat them because if you heat them, it denatures that makes the metal soft and it ruins them. So make sure you don't anneal anything in them. But other than that, they're phenomenal.
I think if you gave that HMS Sheffield a go, Chris, you will thoroughly enjoy it. It's a good build.
Well, I always want to build anything that's served in the Falklands. So I'll definitely have a look at that. I think they do Coventry as well, HMS Coventry. Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm hoping they do Ardent as well. That would be good.
They did, yes, they did indeed. And I'm hoping they go through the whole class of the Type 22s and all the other ships as well.
Yeah.
They're doing batch 2, batch 3 of Type 42s.
I'd like to see someone do a new Fearless.
Type 21s as well. Hope they do that.
Yeah.
In 350th scale. 350 scale is easier to work on than 700, I found.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you start masking stuff like that?
What is it?
The back end of HMS King George V.
Oh, I thought you were building Warspite.
I am, but
Oh, right, okay.
I'm building them side by side.
Yeah.
Very similar ships in a lot of ways, even though they were built quite a while apart. I've mastered a Mikasa. That was a lovely job. 1 through 50 Mikasa. That took a couple of days.
I've got the 200 scale one of that in the loft.
I've got one over there, but I was going to convert it into something else. No, I'm not thinking of Mikasa. Sorry, I was thinking of a different ship. No, Mikasa I will. Yeah, HMS Exmouth I was going to convert it into because they're very similar ships. And I grew up near Exmouth, so even though the ship isn't named after the town, I thought it'd be fun to do HMS Exmouth.
That'd be great. Yeah. One thing which I did learn is that the instructions which 4-Art gave you, basically suggestions more than instructions. Because when you build it, if you built in accordance with the quote unquote suggestions that they lay out, you can't actually paint it because it's just fully built. And you need to start thinking about layering the ship itself in the way you're going to build it.
All ships come with instructions like that. You do need to learn to build in sub-assemblies. So you do the superstructure separate and you do the turret separate. And then usually what I do is build the hull and not put anything on top of it. Then paint the hull, paint the deck, mask the deck off, then build the superstructures, the turrets and everything else, paint them separately, and then essentially assemble them at the end. Even the photo etch I paint on the fret.
Ah, right. Okay. Good point. Yeah. I've still got the handrails to get on, but I might actually paint them before I glue them on.
And then just touch up once once I've clipped it off and stuck it on. Tip for those, use a really good, strong PVA instead of super glue.
Ah, okay. Thank you for that.
Because it's strong enough to hold it, but it's a lot easier to work with. And you can wick it along the bottom of the railing. Same with rigging.
Right, okay. Would you actually thin it and wick it along, or would you actually use it?
Yeah, but only thin it a little, because the more you thin it, the less grip it's got.
Right, okay.
It gets weaker, basically. It's good enough usually to hold it on, whereas super glue, unfortunately, you can get it on, but then you have to cope with the fact you've got this shiny glue where you've stuck it on. So once you've done that, as it dries, it can dry a bit more blobby and visually that you can see it, whereas PVA will shrink when it dries. And also, if it does come off, it tends to take a big scad of paint with it when it comes off. Super glues, PVA is better.
All right, I'll give it a go. Thank you for that. Yeah, as a virgin ship builder myself.
And they're addictive. I keep wanting to go back to one, but again, it's time. I don't have time to do anything these days. So.
It is more time consuming though, because that's the Tamiya kit, and the amount of square knobbly bits that are all over the deck is ridiculous. And the masking, I've done 2.5 hours on that, and I've only done the front part of it. I've only done the forecastle area. That's it.
There are hundreds of ventilators on it, aren't there, and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's all like little boxes on the deck and everything else. And I thought, why couldn't you have just put them on a sprue and then just let us glue them on and just spray them all one colour?
Buildability, Mike. That's it.
Again, though, it's because a lot of less experienced modelers would have trouble clipping them off and losing them and stuff like that.
Oh, there is that.
For the super detailers, you've got to remove them all cleanly so you can replace them with better 3D parts.
Oh, dear me.
That's a job in itself.
Isn't it just? So, Chris, you said you haven't actually been building anything for 4 months. What's actually still on the bench?
A AFV Club YPR, Ukrainian YPR, which got stalled because I decided I really needed to design some tracks and wheels for it. So I did that. And then I thought, I've just seen really cool pictures of 3rd Assault Brigade ones with this mesh stuff on that isn't in the kit. I'll design that. And it's just the problem with 3D is it's every kit is the box of dreams that you open it and you think, all these magical things I could do with it. And what it actually does is stop you finishing it. And also I designed an Ukrainian conversion for the Airfix Ferret. And I found a video of the YPR from 3rd Assault Brigade operating with ferrets. So I decided to make a nice diorama to put the two together. The ferret they use for drone jamming, it's got loads of jammers all over the top of it.
Gotcha. I look forward to seeing that when it's eventually done.
Yeah, I don't know if it ever will be. I do find sometimes that when projects stall past a certain point, they're not going to happen. That's the problem.
Becomes a historic event.
Yeah. One thing I don't have, actually, I'm really interested in listening. I hear people talk about this all the time. A shelf of shame or a shelf of doom. I don't.
Don't have one.
No, because if a project sits and languishes for too long, I know it's not going to happen. I put it in the bin and just Marie Kondo that stuff because it doesn't bring you joy anymore.
That is very Marie Kondo.
But do you know what? I feel so much better not looking at these kits silently judging me because they don't get finished.
But yeah.
That's an interesting way of actually looking at it.
And also, life's too short because there's always new kits.
This is also true.
If it doesn't interest you enough to finish it, you don't owe it anything. It's a piece of plastic. Bin it.
That's true. And it's a very good place to say, Chris, thank you very much for your time. insightful as ever, and hopefully we will get you back on in the future. And as we've talked about off-air previously, we're more than happy to run ads and let the Benchmates know what you've got coming out in the near future.
Can I just plug something very quickly?
Of course you can.
On my own podcast, which I'm sorry to advertise it on your podcast, The Model Philosopher, which is about the sort of the philosophical side rather than the technical and the technique side of modelling. We've recently launched a new prize called the Upturner Prize, which is for artistic. So if you are interested in the artistic side of modelling, go over to theupturnerprize.com, find out what that's all about and how you could nominate someone for this year's prize. Thank you.
Yeah, anything like that, more than happy to actually push for you in the future as well. It's an excellent episode. It's your latest one, isn't it?
Yeah, after about 3 months of not producing one because I was too busy doing this 3D crap.
I did wonder where you'd gone, Chris, in my automatic download feeds, but
that one was actually recorded over a month ago. I just haven't had time to edit it.
Blimey.
Ah, right, I see.
I'm that pushed for time at the moment. But also, I don't know how many of you are parents, but summer, you have all these plans about things you're going to do, and then the kids are home, and before you know it...
Oh, yes.
I'm out of that game, Chris. They've both left home happy again. Sorry, I better not say that too loud because they might listen. I love you, kids.
More to the point, on the very first episode, you actually said that your wife had gone as well.
Yeah, I did.
She didn't like that, did she?
No, she didn't. And let's just say the couch is still very comfortable at this moment in time.
Oh, dear. Anyway, Chris, thank you very much. Hope to speak to you again in the future.
All right, thanks very much. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Cheers. Thanks, Chris.
Cheers, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
You can't see it, but I'm waving.
See you, Chris.
End of another fantastic episode. I can't believe it's 10 episodes we're in already. How's that happen, guys?
I haven't got a clue, Rowley.
Because you keep telling us to turn up.
Yeah, you keep sending out these invites into our mailbox.
Invites in these emails to say, where are you?
And occasionally you turn up. Anyway, okay, so that's a wrap for episode 10. Episode 11, we will be joined by Mr. Spencer Pollard.
Great.
So, should be a fantastic conversation. So, until then, from Boulders.
Cheerio all.
From Mark.
Bye, all. Bye.
From Nevs.
Bye, all.
From Wongy.
Ta-ra! And don't forget, 60 parts or less.
You remembered. Okay, and from Dan.
See you later, everyone. Just remember, every model you make is just practice for the next one.
And from myself, thank you very much for listening, and here's to the next 10. Bye for now.